Hello, everyone. How you doing? How's it going? I got something important for you. Hang on.
Me when, stealing, theft. I like pilfering. I'm a sneaky poacher. I like taking things that do not belong to me.
I can't believe Luke Correa would make this video about me and me specifically. I can't believe.
At least.
What? Oh. Okay, apparently you can fit a whole game into a QR code. That's neat. It is. It's me. Look at what they've done to me. Anyway, today we are doing the Great Ace Attorney. I'm very excited. We were in the second act of wait, is it gonna show up? Hello? There it is. I can see it. You'll see it in a second. Just wait, just give it you gotta give it a second. OBS is a slow old man. Our little meow meow. God damn it. Okay, so which am I? Am I the Skrunkler or am I the little meow meow? I can't be both. It can't be both. OBS is a librarian. Yeah, OBS is that really old librarian at the... Utoki. What the fuck did you just say? What do you mean you're gonna fuck OBS? Is that based off the librarian thing or the old man thing? Utoki. I demand an answer. No, I will sit here until the end of time. I want an answer. All right, well, there you go. You know what? That seems on brand for Futoki somehow. Anyway, hang on. Let me. Let's see. Hang on. All right. So, you don't have a brand. You do have a type though, and that is very much, yeah. You have a type, and it's pretty obvious. Let's see. Where are we going? I forget where the hell I'm going. Well, okay, well, Susato would tell me. No. Right. We got to talk to her father about, the fact that, oh Christ, I forgot what happened last week. Hang on, there was a huge reveal and I don't even remember what it was. Right, okay. So he was good friends with Genshin Asogi. And Asogi protected him, like stood up for him, like tried to defend his life, and it didn't work out for him. Hot man locked away for leg slamming crimes. Correct. Except this time the leg slam actually severed his spine. I thought it yesterday, and I think it again today. This place is so princely. Oh, that's me. It's a wild guess, but I have a feeling you'll think the same tomorrow, too. My tea has a finer fragrance than whatever they're serving in the tea room here, though. Wouldn't you say? Ah, look who we have here. This is an unexpected pleasure. There he is. Ah, father. Ooh, is this your daddy, Susie? How lovely. What a charming young lady. And you are? Ah, really? So you're the author of The Adventures of Herlock Sholmes, are you? That's me, Iris Wilson, at your service, sir. Yeah, I honestly, same reaction, Futo, but you have to understand she's a child. That is a normal word for her. And we need to not be weird about it. Susie's been such a wonderful friend to me over the last year, you know? Yeah, Zeal, she's, actually, well, she was 8 in the last game, and it's been a year. I wonder if they actually, like, took the time to, like, update all of the ages. Oh, she's 10 now. Okay. She was 8 in the last game. Just say... These kids need to learn to say motherfucker. Ah, yes, teach the child how to swear. That's a great idea. Well, Miss Wilson, I must say I read your work regularly and with much interest. Why do read and read need to be spelled the same way? Why do we do that? Why does the English language suck ass? Because when I read a sentence for the first time and I'm expecting it to be, you know, past tense, and it turns out to be present tense, I look like an idiot. Iris actually lives with Mr. Sholmes, you know, Father. Is that so? Well, perhaps that goes some way to explaining that bright look in your eyes. Hee. You wouldn't be smiling so airily if you knew just how bright she is, believe me. Now then, young Naruhodo, it was a pleasure seeing you in action earlier. As an invitee of the symposium, I was allowed to observe from the gallery after I twisted some arms. And I must say, it was a truly exemplary performance. Oh, well, thank you very much. Be like baby Alistair, call your dad a bastard. Oh, you saw that story, did you? Yeah, that was, Look, Seinfeld led me to believe that bastard was a compliment. I don't know what to tell you. Oh, I'm fairly sure you omitted by Cosmo on the end there. No, please don't misunderstand. It was you who impressed me. Really? You didn't miss a step against Ahsoki, and we all know how capable he is. Really, to have matured into such a fine defense lawyer in less than a year is quite extraordinary. It's very kind of you to say so. And really nice to hear. What I saw in court today confirmed what I'd been hoping for. The favor I mentioned yesterday, Naruhodo. I trust you haven't forgotten? Oh, no, you did mention something, didn't you? But first, we have something to report, Father. Of course. Shall we take tea while we discuss matters further? Wonder where Judge Jigoku has got to. It means a clever person. Yeah, see? Rotten gets it. Father, do you know about the so-called Reaper of the Bailey? I've heard rumors. Some members of the judiciary explained it all to me yesterday. Of course, when I was a visiting student here in London, the Reaper was yet to emerge. Sorry, I'm still sleeping off the wake up. Right, he didn't appear until after that case when the visiting students had already returned home. Lord Van Zykes, who was in the dock that day. That was Barrick, the younger brother of Clint Van Zykes, I believe. That's right, and he's known throughout London as the Reaper, as you've heard. But the truth is, it wasn't him behind all those mysterious deaths. It was somebody else. I see. What you're saying is, there's been a professional killer at work here. Exactly. Oh, right. That was the big reveal. That the Reaper, Barrick Von Zykes suspects that the Reaper was Tobias Gregson. And that he was working in tandem with, Asahine, also known as Giselle Brett. That's right. That's what the big reveal was. Someone by the name of Asahine, in fact. I beg your pardon. Did you say assassin? You mean that Giselle Brett woman who was responsible for killing my great friend? Oh no, a friend of yours was killed? Professor Mikotoba, I think perhaps we shouldn't discuss this right now. As the friend the professor is talking about is Dr. John H. Wilson. And that's not something we want Iris to find out about. Not like this, anyway. Yeah, the names in this game, I swear to God. Yeah, I love the pun names. Actually, wait. Have you played Spirit of Justice? Because Spirit of Justice has the best and the worst pun name. Wait. Let me find this. What was it? Spirit. Hang on. I gotta look this up because it's incredible. Of Justice long name. I'm sure this will bring it up. Here we go. Okay. Let's see. So, yeah, the character is, what's his name? Inga Karkul Kurain. Now, that's not a pun on its own. However, you find out in the midst of the trial that his full name is, Inga Karkul. How could Disnam be any longer or more pompous than it already is, Kurain III? Yes. It is the worst. And I hate it. I hate it a lot. Like, Spirit of Justice went so hard on the pun names. Like, it was so bad. At least the Great Ace Attorney, like, pulls it back a bit. But, good God. But yeah, welcome on in, Smudged. How's it going? How you doing? Oh, Futoki just got it, I see. Good job, Futoki. I've just remembered something. Biscuits. This hotel has the most delicious looking biscuits. That was rather out of the blue. She's doing this deliberately. I think I'll go and see if I can purchase some. I wonder, would you like to come too, Iris? Oh, yes. You just try to leave me behind. Okay, so now we can talk about John Wilson now. That girl is called Iris Wilson, is she? Yes, that's right. And she's the author of all those adventure stories starring the great detective Sholmes. But the name of the credited author isn't Iris, is it? It's Dr. John H. Wilson. Yes, I know. That's the name of her father, you see. Her father? Dr. John H. Wilson. I was deeply indebted to the man for all the kindness he showed me during my time in London. That's why I was keen to reciprocate and invite him to the Imperial Yume University 4 years ago. But he was murdered last year by Giselle Brett. Why? Why would the Hand of the Reaper stretch all the way to Japan? Iris knows nothing about that case, but it seems very likely that the victim, Dr. Wilson, was her father. Well, I can't say that we ever spoke about his family, so I don't know if he had a daughter or not. Really? How does that, like... How are you friends with someone for, like, that long, and that just never comes up in conversation? Like, it's not something you just bring up, like, any, like, just... It's not like the first thing you bring up, like, hey, nice to meet you. How's your family? But when you're good friends with someone, usually you know something about their family. Do I have a daughter? No. No, I don't. No. And I can say that with, 100% certainty. And that's all I'm going to say on the matter. But I think I can say with some certainty that he was never the great detective's partner. Shut up, Fudo! Shut the fuck up! I was gonna ask, how's that gonna work? But honestly, I don't want to know. I just don't want to know. I think I can say with some certainty that he was never the great detective's partner. So, it could have been another Dr. Wilson, you think? Well, John and Wilson are both common names after all. Still, it's probably best not to mention this to the young lady until we can be sure. That's what we thought, yes. We're back with cinnamon biscuits. Ooh, they smell delicious, Iris. Same way Venom and Eddie had a kid. Oh, no. No. Please do not call me daddy. I don't want people calling me daddy. The official line for, like, lewd jokes is, hello, Sid. Yeah, please don't call me daddy. Oh, hi, Sid. Hi, welcome on in. Whoops, I knocked my ibuprofen over. But yes, since I allow people to make lewd jokes at me, the official line is, number 1, please don't call me daddy. Number 2, don't be, like, explicit or infer that I have done things. Oh no, Sid doesn't even know about that arc yet, I don't think. Oh no. Oh, it's all coming apart. Oh, the facade, the mask is falling off. Let's go back to the fun detective game. Yes, let's go. Oh no. It's all coming apart. It's everything. My entire life crashing down around me. All right, Sid, you take care. You have a good lurk. Have fun with D&D. I saw Freddy Fazbear on your Roll20. Good. At some point, remind me to show you Family Blood Feud, because that was an incredible Dungeons and Dragons moment if I ever had one. You can hit Rotten if you need me to. We'll hold that bonk for now. We'll hold the bonk for now. We'll come back to that later. I think cinnamon will go very well with the tea they serve here. Don't you, Susie? Yes, I'm sure you're right, Iris. Judge Jigoku, talk to me about Judge Jigoku, please. Please, let's move on. Please, we don't need every stream to somehow come back to the topic of horsecock. It's every stream. I can't escape it anymore. I can't escape it. I will end this arc eventually. I know how I'm gonna do it too. Because the only way to end a running joke like this is to make the funniest version of the joke, so that no other joke can ever top it, and it becomes pointless to even mention. All right? The thrilling conclusion. Yes, exactly. The thrilling conclusion to the horsecock arc. You could say it would be the thrilling climax to the horsecock arc. I'm dead inside. Okay, the game! I have a game, I should play it maybe. I haven't seen Judge Jigoku for a while, have you? Guilty! But that guilty is still ringing in my ears. No, now that you mention it, I haven't seen him since this morning either. I suppose since the symposium's opening was postponed, he'll have gone to explore at the Great Exhibition. That reminds me of something you mentioned yesterday. About Judge Jigoku having once been in the dock himself? Ah, yes. It was all tied up with that accursed trial. The closed trial of Kazuma's father. Seishiro was trying to mitigate Genshin's guilt, so he took the stand to testify. But he got a little carried away and, actually managed to break the witness stand. Break the witness stand? Oh my. He also said some contemptuous words about the British Empire, for which he was charged. Oh dear. Well, it's worryingly easy to imagine him doing that. Well, it was all right. It was all right in the end. He was acquitted and we returned home to Japan together. Thank goodness. Yes, speaking of Seishiro. I have a copy of the photograph we all took together here yesterday. Please. Aw, cute. Look at that. Let me just look over it, like, closely and carefully, just to make sure there's nothing suspicious about this. Because if this gets added to the court record, I'm gonna get real nervous. Oh, what a lovely picture. Certainly seems to shout, "We've arrived in Britain." Oh, no. Why are we adding this to the court record? Don't think I like that. My God, Futoki, shut up. Shut up. Why are you like this, Futoki? Do you need some water? I think you need some water because Jesus Christ, you're thirsty today. None of us had any idea what was coming when we took that, did we? No, that's so true. No parental figures since I was 9 years old. Man, no parents will really do that to a motherfucker, won't it? So, you mentioned a favor that you'd like to ask me. Well, this fateful trial that you're fighting, one way or another, it will be over before long. And when it is, I'd like you to accompany back to Japan. You want me to do... What? Father, what's the meaning of this? Now, Susato, you should understand. You've seen how our courts work firsthand. Japan's judicial system is in its infancy, especially when it comes to defense. Oh, you mean... The Supreme Court of Judicature is in desperate need of a good defense lawyer. As soon as possible. Really quite urgently, in fact. But, I've not even been in London a year yet. I've read all of Susato's reports. I'm well aware of your extraordinary talents. Having seen you in action with my own eyes earlier today, there's no question. You, Naruhodo, are precisely the man our country needs. New to Twitch, how do you bonk other users? Yeah, that's my job. I do the bonking around here if I need to. So, you be leaving then, Runo? But then, what am I supposed to do, Father? You came here to serve as Asogi's judicial assistant. Oh, yes. She's supposed to be Kazuma's assistant. Our government is still in the process of deciding how best to deal with his situation, though. You've always chosen your own path, Susato, and I trust your judgment. In this matter also. Father! Please, the pair of you, don't look so downcast. It's merely a suggestion, you understand. A hope, if I'm honest, but I won't force you. I can't force you, but take it! Take the deal! All I ask is that you consider it, and come to a decision by the time this trial concludes. Yes, all right. You won't leave, will you, Aruno? Aw, Iris! The thought hadn't even crossed my mind. Up until now, I've just been trying to do what I believed to be Kazuma's will. But it turns out, he's still alive, so... Where does that leave me? Don't ask Alistair to T-pose. Oh, don't do what now, Futo? Don't do what? No, I will spare you this time, but I'm watching you. Well, if you'll excuse me now. I need to telegram government ministers and the Japanese police with this information about Asashin. How do you even do that? Oh, it's because I'm powerful. It's because I'm an alpha Chad. If you look down in the stream tags, you'll see that I have listed that I am a Chad. You'll see that. You'll see Chad in the tags. That's me. It's because I'm just that powerful. Of course, Father. Thank you. I look forward to next month's installment, Miss Wilson. Oh, good. And please, do come to Baker Street sometime, won't you? We'd love to entertain you. I would be delighted. The best of luck for tomorrow, Naruhodo. And give my suggestion your full consideration, won't you? Yes, I will. Going back home. You know, Kazuma-sama has always meant a great deal to my father. I'm sure he'd love the chance to meet with him and talk to him about all of this. Yes, no doubt. Asashin. Of course, it's so obvious. How could I have neglected to consider the possibility before now? Sholmes, when did you get here? Ah! Mr. Sholmes! Twunk at best. Hey, femboys can be Chads too. I mean, just look at, can of Monster Energy drink Astolfo. That's a Chad if I've ever seen one. And also, I'm pretty sure the Chad tag exists because there is a country in Africa called Chad. So I believe I am misadvertising my my location, but also it's Chad. Come on. It's the Chad tag. Come on. I see something missing. I must bonk for this. Credits panel? What? No, I fixed it. I fixed it to credit my overlays. Right, it should be. If it didn't take, that's a problem, but I did fix it. I fixed it like literally like a minute before stream. Hang on. I'm checking my own channel now because I know I changed that. Fixed it like oh, you can hear my own echo. Hang on. Yeah, I changed it. It's in the welcome panel. Yeah, there we go. I can't believe Zeal's trying to gaslight me. Can you believe this, guys? I probably should make like a separate panel with like the overlay and also like the model credits. I should probably do that at some point. But I did fix the one thing that I said I was going to fix, so I didn't forget entirely. Yeah. Heard of the Mega Chad that existed centuries ago? No, I don't think I have, Futo. Hurley, where have you been? Why, I joined you all for tea, of course. What an extraordinary question. I didn't notice you at all. No matter. Anyway, to more pressing concerns. Mr. Naruhodo. Oh, yes? I must dispatch a telegram to your country at once. It is a matter of much urgency. To Japan, you mean? Tell me, to whom can I entrust the task? Quickly now, who? Well? My father has just now left to send a telegram to the Imperial Police Bureau of Japan himself. I see. Well, you looked reliable enough for a bearded fellow. What? I don't think what father sports could be considered a beard, Mr. Sholmes. There's not a moment to lose. Kindly ask your trusty unshaven father to see this is sent. I will, but what is it? No questions at this time, if you please, Mr. Sato. All we can do is pray that for once, my deduction is awry. Doesn't that imply that your deductions are normally correct, Mr. Sholmes? Which isn't exactly... Now then! You may be surprised to learn that I am a very busy man. I certainly have no time to hide behind settees and eavesdrop on other people's conversations. So that's what joining us for tea meant. I leave the sending of this in your hands then, my dear fellows. And he's gone. Wait a minute, Mr. Sholmes! He just sort of ran off, didn't he? At quite a pace. And left the unpaid bill for his tea behind, too. Ah, thanks, Sholmes. I must catch up with father at the telegraph office at once. And I'll run and call us a cab straight away. And they're gone. And there was me thinking everyone would be clamoring to pay Mr. Sholmes' bill. Well, I guess we're not paying it either. Fuck that shit. Oh, we can't even examine. Okay. Okay, here we go. We'll visit the hospital now. Now we're finally gonna get something out of this. This is the ward where Mr. Vigil was brought, apparently. To be frank, I'm a little worried about seeing him again. There he is. Ah, the lawyer. Hello again. Yeah, just hides behind settees, hands you a telegram, runs off, explains nothing. Who needs an explanation? Sholmes telling you to do something? You just kind of do it. Are you feeling better now, Mr. Vigil? Yes, thank you. Somewhat better. I'm so sorry to have caused you to... I mean, it was because of me. I hadn't exposed your secret and forced you to remember things you'd obviously tried to forget. The prosecutor was here until a few moments ago, too. You just missed him. Oh, Kazuma beat us to it. He said much the same as you. He was very apologetic. But the truth is, I brought all of this upon myself. Please don't think like that. Keeping it from Evie, my wife, all these years, I've carried such a sense of guilt. But that's not the worst of it. Over time, I obviously came to deceive myself as well. You mean about your dismissal? Looking back now, I'm beginning to think that perhaps Inspector Gregson didn't stumble across me by accident at all. I mean, he compensated me so generously for acting as a stand-in. He was clearly concerned for my well-being and doing what he could to help. So perhaps Gregson knew exactly what had become of Mr. Vigil all along then. I'm sure this is just desserts for 10 years of lies and deception, but... It wasn't me that helped the professor escape 10 years ago. It wasn't me! I swear it. I swear it's true. Oh, Mr. Vigil. I'm sure you'd rather not dredge up even more from your past at this time, but... If possible, could you tell us exactly what really happened? I want to. I need to get all of this off my chest. I just want someone to tell me what I should have done. Aw, this poor man. Aw, this poor man, dude. He just wants to provide for his family. And he's carrying like all these ghosts from 10 years ago, dude. Inspector Gregson was obviously engaged in a special operation of some sort. He was investigating something that even Scotland Yard couldn't know about. Details of the Reaper's marks, yes. It was when he had to carry out those investigations that I would take his identification and impersonate him. You'd pretend to be the inspector and carry out the investigations on his behalf? No, never. A common street peddler couldn't possibly carry out a proper police investigation. All I would do is go to the specified location and make a little hoo-ha. Hoo-ha? Hoo-ha? Seems like a lot of hoopla! Just something to leave an impression, so everyone there would think a detective called Gregson was here. So, that's what you were doing on the day prior to the incident? I just want to know what I should have done as a thought that haunts me to my core. Yeah, I feel that. Yeah, I really feel that one. It's like, looking back, that didn't work out. What should I have done? I can't figure out what I should have done in that case. There's just a lot of times in life where it just seems like a no-win situation. Yes, he asked me to make an appearance at the park on Lime Street for the Red-Headed League event. So as usual, I flashed the inspector's identification around and was very vocal about my presence. But then you were taken prisoner by those red-headed fraudsters. Yes. So you would always make a point of showing Gregson's identification and generally being loud? That's what the inspector asked me to do, yes. Well, that's one way of becoming a legendary detective, I suppose. Not a good one, though. And as you know, I suffered this bruising around my neck at their hands. But the following day, they kept their word and released me. Without returning the inspector's identification to you, however. We had arranged to meet up in the Fresno Street room at 5 that day, so I could report back to the inspector. But at the agreed time, that's when I heard the gunshot. It was at midnight on the 17th of June 10 years ago. That was the time scheduled for the execution. But the professor's execution never actually took place, did it? Or rather, the execution itself must have been used to effect the plan of escape. I hardly dare to imagine what a chilling plan it was. Barclay was renowned for being the highest security prison in the country. Everything that went in or out of the place was searched multiple times. But there was one notable exception. Or rather, one notable loophole. Something that was never questioned. And that would be anything that was inside your asshole. I have a feeling I know what that loophole was now. The coffins into which the bodies of the executed convicts were placed, correct? Oh, okay, that makes a little bit more sense. Yes. Once the coroner had confirmed the death of a condemned convict, the body was taken in its coffin for immediate burial in Logate Cemetery, just behind the prison. The chief warder first had to sign the necessary papers. And after that, no member of the staff was permitted to touch the coffin containing the body again. Huh. Execution date and time. This information is from a credible source. Yeah, it's fairly well recorded in like police documents, and it's a date and time that's been thrown around a lot. When executions took place, only the executioner and the coroner were permitted inside the chamber. I would wait in the adjacent room for word that the condemned convict was dead. On that occasion, once I had that confirmation, I went to the mortuary to find a lone coffin as usual. The procedure was that I would sign the paperwork, having checked the coffin, then nail it shut. But for some reason that day, the coffin was already nailed shut. No! I didn't think anything of it at the time. I assumed that my deputy must have checked the coffin and nailed it shut before I arrived. So, you mean the coffin contained... Yes, I can only imagine that Ahsoki, having escaped his execution somehow, was alive inside the coffin. The coffin was then taken out through the main gates and deposited in Lowgate Cemetery. Presumably there wouldn't have been enough air inside to breathe for long. So in the early hours following the burial, somebody dug up the coffin again to set Genshin free. But in the end, he was fatally shot in the graveyard anyway. What on earth really happened in Lowgate Cemetery that night, I wonder? I'm afraid I really don't know. All I can say with certainty are two things. Ahsoki couldn't possibly have escaped that way without some help from somebody working in the prison. And that somebody was not me. I mean, I think I believe him. I think he's at the point where he's like past trying to like lie to protect himself. I really think he didn't do it. Obviously, you knew the man then. The professor, I mean. Genshin Ahsoki. Yes, I remember him well, in fact. Would you mind telling us what you know? Well, having been condemned to death as he was, any contact I had with the man was short, obviously. But after that trial, which was carried out behind closed doors, attended only by elite members of the judiciary, they called for his execution to be carried out at the earliest possible opportunity. The outcome of the trial was set from the beginning, wasn't it? It was a time of delicate diplomacy, when Britain and Japan were in the process of signing an important treaty. That meant that this potentially destabilizing case had to be dealt with swiftly and discreetly. The man had less than a week in total. As I was the chief warder, I oversaw his short stay in the cells until his final hour. I remember being struck deeply by his noble character and incredible resilience. What do you mean exactly? He was a killer of many men, but he was always quiet and polite. He was a gentleman and a man of intellect. In fact, I couldn't bring myself to believe what he'd done, so I asked him one day. Those 5 members of the aristocracy whose lives were taken, were you really responsible? I'm guilty of the unforgivable crime of ending another human's life. Yes. Okay, but that's not a direct answer to your question, though. He killed someone, but yeah, I've been wondering about this for a while. I don't think Genshin's gonna turn out to actually be the professor. I think it's gonna turn out to be someone else. Oh. Wait. Oh, hold on. I'm having a big think at the moment. So I'm going to place a prediction here. I'm going to place this prediction out in the open so we can refer to it later. Genshin Ahsoki was not the professor. The professor was Clint von Zykes. And when Genshin Ahsoki found this out, he killed him. That's my prediction. That's my prediction. The following day, the closed trial took place, and the verdict was no surprise. Guilty. That night, when he was brought back to his cell, I saw something. Something unusual. Something unusual? What? The last will and testament of Genshin Ahsoki. His will? As I said, it was on the night following his trial, after he'd been found guilty. I was doing the rounds of the cells, and when I looked into Ahsoki's, I noticed that he seemed to have a sheet of paper in his hand. Ah, His last will and testament, then, presumably. As soon as he noticed me, he hurriedly shoved it behind his back. But why did you find that so unusual? Isn't it normal for a man to pen a will when he knows his death is nigh? Yes, that's true. There were special conditions to Ahsoki's incarceration, you see. What sort of conditions? Well, even though he was held in a cell designed for condemned inmates, he was allowed to keep his personal effects with him, with one exception. Really? He was allowed his things? That is unusual, certainly. Of course, he'd been convicted of killing 5 members of the aristocracy, but at the same time, he was a guest in our country from the Empire of Japan. The powers that be were determined that his final days shouldn't be needlessly uncomfortable. Huh, alright. And what was the exception you mentioned to the personal effects he was allowed? That's the point. He wasn't permitted to have writing materials. What? Specifically, no pens or paper. What? So, he was prevented from leaving any written record of what had happened to him. Yes, that was the long and short of it. I have no idea where he obtained that paper. Any writing materials would have been confiscated from him upon his incarceration. As I said, he hid the paper behind his back, and then he pleaded with me. What did you just hide behind your back? Please. Please turn a blind eye. This is my lifeline. But you know it's against the rules. You're the only person who's seen. You just agree to keep quiet. Alright then. But what's on that paper? A last will and testament. This will is the only weapon I have left now. Ah. How can a will be a weapon? So I decided to pretend I'd seen nothing and let him keep his will. But then later, it just seemed to vanish without a trace. What? What do you mean it vanished? It would seem that isn't the end of the story of this mysterious will. Where the fuck did the will go? I was the only person who saw Ahsoki's will, but somehow it disappeared. It was after Ahsoki's execution, which was actually an elaborate jailbreak. The warriors gathered up Ahsoki's possessions that were in his cell. They were all to be sent back to his family home in Japan, you see. The poor Kazuma-sama. And you're saying that it wasn't anywhere to be found among his personal effects? The will, I mean. That's right, though I didn't search through them myself. But Governor Kaiden was livid. He was screaming, "It can't have disappeared completely!" That doesn't quite make sense though, does it? In what way? Well, we'd understood that only Mr. Vigil was aware of the will's existence. In which case, how did the prison governor know to look for it? Oh, yes, you're right! I really don't know how he knew, but it certainly seemed as though he knew of the will's existence from the outset. Only he didn't refer to it as a will. What he said was, the Ahsoki Papers. The Ahsoki Papers. I really can't tell you anything of the subsequent events. Because, well, of what happened. Your dismissal, and the way you blocked it all from your memory. I'd forgotten all of this until today. I don't suppose it's relevant to the case, though. Well, anyway, thank you very much for sharing it with us, Mr. Vigil. We're very grateful. I'm afraid there's really little more I can tell you. My wife Evie will be here shortly, so I do hope I don't appear rude, but... No, not at all. Thank you again. What will become of you now? Well, impersonating a police officer is a criminal offense, of course. I imagine that once I'm fully recovered, I shall be arrested. I'm so sorry. Don't be, please. This was all my own doing. I always knew that this day would come. This poor man. Well, I wish you well. Goodbye, Mr. Vigil. When's he gonna, like, see his wife? Oh. Ah! Before you go, there's just one thing. Oh, yes? What is it? The Ahsoki Papers. Yeah? I'd be very grateful if you'd make no mention of the things I told you about them. Presumably for some good reason. My understanding that their very existence is a closely guarded secret. It became known that I'd remembered. Well, it could be rather troublesome, I think. I understand. Some sort of will that Genshin Ahsoki penned just before his death, which the man himself claimed was his last weapon. I wonder, perhaps it had something to do with his plan to escape. If there's anyone who might know more about a document that Cosmo's father left behind, it would be Mr. Vigil's governor. Then we know precisely where we must go. Back to Barclay Prison. Oh no. No, don't make me do the Scottish accent again. Oh no. Oh no. Wait, wrong prison. Hang on. That's right. Here we go. There he is. Ugh! Back again, are you? Yes. Hello. I've heard all about your investigations. I read the report just now. You found him, eh, Vigil? Yes, luckily. Well, anywho, the laddie doesn't work here no more, so your case is not to do with Barclay. God, I fucking hate Scottish accents. I hate Scottish accents. I'm so bad at them. I wouldn't like you to get the wrong idea about that. Of course, yes. Mr. Vigil stopped working here 10 years ago now, so... Yes, we've seen his dismissal notice, haven't we? He was given the chop. The chop? Aye, Kimmer. You're kidding very well. So, how about the wee handcuff biscuit? Oh, they really are like little handcuffs. And as hard as irons, too. So, what's brought you doing here today? Well, there's something else we'd like to ask you about, actually. Is that so? We believe there might have been a document that disappeared from Genshin Ahsoki's cell. I think it's been called the Ahsoki Papers or something? Did I not say? Gregson's death has naught to do with things that might have happened at Barclay. Leave the past in the past, laddie. Let's not footer about with irrelevant details. His expressions changed completely. We're clearly onto something here. God, am I gonna have to watch Meet the Demo Man again just to learn how to do a Scottish accent? Or watch like a clip of like Fat Bastard from Austin Powers? Because I'm struggling with this accent. That murderer, That murderer's botched execution and the whole miserable escape. They were Barclay's darkest hour, aye. A shocking embarrassment. Because the convict had a collaborator on the prison staff, you mean? Aye, for shame. The coroner who confirmed the death of the man after his execution, Courtney Scythe. And my chief warder at the time, Vigil, who was in charge of the whole affair. Mr. Vigil says he didn't know anything about it. A rascal would nay say otherwise, eh? More handcuffs. Oh, how could I say no? You can never have too much iron in your diet. When Mr. Vigil was handed his dismissal notice as a result of what had happened, he was so despairing he jumped out your office window, didn't he? I didn't like to say it, but that's just the Vigil trying to get out of it. Do you not think he would nay have jumped from the shock of his crimes being exposed, eh? I do. You would nay say otherwise, though, would you? Of course I can nay shun all responsibility myself. I should nay have let him deceive me. Actually, there's barely anybody that kens what went on at the time now. With Gregson having been murdered, and Dr. Scythe forbidden from having any visitors. No visitors? Someone obviously doesn't want her giving anything away. Well, we're not going home empty-handed. And I would nay dream of sending you packing with naught, Kimmer. Here, take a handcuff or two. Oh, well, it would be rude to say no. Would want to become anemic. I suppose if there's anybody who might still ken about what happened back then, it'd be that lass from the forensic division, Maria Gori. Maria Gori? So I have a friend who I think, like just by the name alone, I think I have a friend who would really, really like that. And if the aesthetic is what I'm expecting like goth and maybe bloody. Aye, Scythe's daughter. She didn't have no more, just the one. Oh, we've met her. I don't remember what she looks like though. But the wee bairns followed her in her mam's footsteps. You didn't ever see her without a scalpel in her hand. Ah. Oh, that's right. She had a mask on. Mama, what is this? Where did she spring from? And did you just call the doctor Mama? Dr. Scythe's daughter, Maria Gori. We could do with talking to her. So, she's Dr. Scythe's daughter, but her surname is Gori? Aye, there's some family history, I'm sure, but I didn't ken the ins and outs of it. She grew up watching her mom working with the bodies of folk who died in strange circumstances. Decided to do the same with her own life. I can't understand it myself. Perhaps she was driven by a deep respect for her mother. Perhaps. Anywho, she was in charge of Gregson's autopsy, I believe. Right, and the coroner responsible for this incomplete report. Someone told me once that the world was going to roll me, and that I ain't the sharpest tool in the shed. Somebody told me once that the wee lassie always loved her mom's stories about cutting up bodies. There's even a rumor that she used to listen to the funeral march as a lullaby. Jesus. Well then perhaps her mother might have told her about the autopsy from the case 10 years ago. I'd say there's a fighting chance at least. After all, it was a life-changing case for all of us. Really need to speak with Miss Gori herself about this, I think. Well, thank you very much. I'm not happy about any part of this. It took years for Londoners to finally forget the whole professor business. Can you not give up on this, laddie? Stop asking pointless questions. I'm sorry. I don't like dredging up these painful memories for everyone. Can you not just stay away, Nu? Stay away, Nu. Leave me alone and dinna come back here, eh? After I ask you about the Ahsoki Papers. How do you come to ken about that, laddie? There's no many folks even here in the prison who've heard of those papers. Well, I can't tell Mr. Vigil told me. I'm afraid our sources must remain confidential, sir. We've been led to believe that the papers are actually a last will and testament. Is that right? The professor's, or rather Genshin Ahsoki's... Aye, that's right. You're well informed, Jimmy. Oh, is that the end of the silent treatment? Jimmy? Is that a common nickname for Scottish people to give, like, people? Is that another version of Laddie? But then after the convict's execution, it mysteriously vanished from his cell, didn't it? Havers, no. You're off at half-cock there. I think you didn't quite get your facts straight. It was there in the cell, exactly where it should have been. Oh, not what we heard elsewhere. Let me just have a wee hawk around here. I'm sure I can find it. Aye, here ye are. See? The last will and testament of Genshin Ahsoki, written with a calligraphy brush. Of course, I can read a word of those Japanese squigglies. But I mind it says he leaves all his worldly possessions to his son back in his homeland. Yes, that's correct. That's the gist of it. So these are the Ahsoki Papers. Aye, of course they are. Papers written by Ahsoki, nae doubt about it. There's no mystery here, laddie. That's your lot. After all the stramash of that slicer of an execution, we sent the man's possessions back to his clan in Japan, and that was the end of it. I think we ought to make a record of this, Mr. Naruhodo, just in case. Yeah, that's a good idea. One thing before you go on your way, Mr. Naruhodo. Oh, yes? Those papers are not to do with Gregson's death. I'd prefer it if you didn't make no mention of them outside this office. Or rather, I would nay just prefer it. Consider it an order from the highest levels of our government. I understand. Ooh. There's something, like, real suspicious about those papers. Like, really suspicious. Let's see. This place seems to rather suit Lord Van Zant. Oh dear, did I just say that out loud? So, are we not gonna go, oh, that's right, we gotta talk to Kazuma first. And then I guess we'll talk to the coroner? There's our boy! Kazuma. I thought it wouldn't be long before you paid me a visit, Ryunosuke. I was right about what I said, wasn't I? Sorry? That you have all the makings of a great defense lawyer? Well, I always believed that you'd fulfill your dream of advocating in the British courts. I just never imagined for 1 second that it would be as a prosecutor. Seeing you stand in a foreign courtroom so gallantly realizing your dream, Kazuma-sama, I'm truly happy for you. I'm truly thankful to you, Judicial Assistant Mikotoba. Ryunosuke, I always thought it would be fun for you and I to shake up the British legal system a little together. This isn't quite how I envisioned it, but I suppose it's just another twist of fate. I've learned a lot of things during my time in London. About how Susato-san's father was himself a visiting student here once, along with Judge Jigoku, and about what happened with your father. Then you'll have no difficulty understanding why I had no choice, why I had to find a way to get to Britain as a visiting student myself. I want to hear it from you, Kazuma. As you wish, Ryunosuke Naruhodo. Why is Kazuma so cool? Like, why is he just, like, really cool? I love this new outfit, too. This new outfit, like, suits him. It's getting on for a year now, since what happened on the SS Muria. We were heading across the oceans from Japan to Great Britain, when a bizarre series A bizarre series of coincidences? Spelling errors in my visual novel? My immersion is ruined? When a bizarre series of coincidences led to those tragic events, I thought I'd lost my best friend forever. I must have been unconscious for a long time. When I woke, I was lying on a bed. It was a narrow little room. There was a posy of flowers by the pillow. It took me a little while to realize that I was in the cabin of a ship. I slipped out of the room, headed up onto the deck. Were you already suffering from amnesia at that point? Yes, I didn't know what had happened or where I was. It was just this voice in my head. You have something you need to do, something no one else can know about. Go to Great Britain. Your task awaits you there. It was a calling I couldn't ignore. It compelled me relentlessly. Out on deck, I saw that I was on a huge steamship, and we were docked at a large port. It must have been Hong Kong. Yes, must have been. Presumably just before they were due to carry your body off the ship. I had no idea of the situation, but I did have the feeling that this was in some way my last chance. So I concealed myself among the disembarking passengers and went ashore. Then I disappeared into the crowded streets of that foreign port city. I could plan my onward journey to Great Britain. Just under a year ago, with all my past memories lost to me, I was left behind in Hong Kong. Everything was foreign to me. The sights, the sounds, the smells. My head reeled. I was truly at a loss. I realized now that I'd escaped as a dead man, with nothing but the clothes on my back. No money, of course. And no bitches! Oh, how terrifying for you. Give me a second, I'm gonna stretch. Okay, that was a good stretch. Ooh. Sorry if I chest bumped the microphone a couple times there. Luckily, though, I had two feathers in my cap. One being your knowledge of English, I suppose. That's right. And on the back of that, I was able to pick up some work as a deckhand on a cargo ship. Eventually, after calling at countless ports, I finally arrived at Dover. It must have been some 3 months ago now. Your formidable tenacity of purpose showing itself again. I mean, the man had lost his memory and had literally nothing to his name, but he still managed to make his way to London on the opposite side of the world. Of course, I had no idea why I'd moved heaven and earth to get here at that point. So, how did you end up becoming Lord Van Zykes' apprentice, then? That can only be called an extraordinary stroke of luck, really. You see, I was stopped at the border because I had no papers. They took me straight to Scotland Yard. And by sheer coincidence, Lord Strongheart was there to attend a meeting. That's when the second feather in my cap came into play. Would that have been your knowledge of the law? Yes, exactly. Lord Strongheart was curious about an Easterner with intimate knowledge of British law. He took me back with him to the Supreme Court and assigned me to the prosecutor's office. And then 9 days ago... you finally got your memory back after the trial involving Drebber. Ah, good old Enoch Drebber. Love that man. Yes, I did. Talk about your father, Genshin Impact. Ever since I met you at Yume, you talked about your dream. Mark my words, Ryunosuke. I'll be chosen as a visiting student and make my way to Great Britain someday. Did you know the entire time about what happened to your father here? 16 years ago. My father left on that exciting trip to Great Britain. I was just a boy. We took a photograph together the day before his departure. It's my last memory of him. But what I remember most about my father is his unswerving sense of justice. Baby Kazuma! 6 years after he left, a gentleman called at our family home. He told me that Genshin, my father, had been taken ill in England and passed away. It was Professor Mikotoba, your father, Susato-san. Oh my. Ever since then, the professor was very good to me. Even helped to fund my university education at Yume. I'll be forever in his debt. But nevertheless, I just couldn't bring myself to believe what he'd told me. Oh. Then one day, a letter arrived at our house from Britain. There was no indication of the sender, so I opened it, assuming it was from an old acquaintance of my father. What I read in that letter changed my entire life. What did it say? It said that my father had been a mass murderer, and the writer cursed the Ahsoki name. Oh no! As a result of that letter, I found out what had been hidden from me all those years. Was that from Van Zykes? I wonder. Presumably the letter was sent from a relative of one of the victims. That sounds like Van Zykes to me. If whoever it was had been a member of the judiciary, he could have been present at the closed trial. The letter revealed that my father had been sentenced to death, executed for being a killer. I'm so sorry you had to find out that way. I imagine the British government did its very best to silence whoever sent that letter. Someone who knew the truth and couldn't bear the resentment was always going to be a problem. But still, it could have been written by anyone. Why would you believe such a thing? Hate mail, old as time. Ah, yes, the precursor to going into someone's DMs and calling them cringe. Ah, yes. In today's world, Van Zykes would have just like made a burner account on Twitter, gone into Kazuma's DMs and been like, "Hey man, you're a piece of shit. Fuck you. I haven't gotten any hate DMs, so I don't know how to do this. That's not an invitation, by the way. Don't do that. Don't do that. I want to keep my streak as long as I can. Genshin sucks plus ratio. Ah, yeah. Barak hates Genshin. He much prefers Cookie Run Kingdom. But still, could have been written by anyone. Why would you believe such a thing? There was a newspaper cutting included with the letter. It was the first I'd ever heard of the professor and his terrible killing spree. How about thirst mail? Fine, I will allow love mail and thirst mail. I will allow that. Oh no. Oh no. So let's see. What have we nailed down about Van Zykes? Van Zykes is number 1, Team Jacob, and number 2, he plays Cookie Run Kingdom. Oh Christ. Oh God. What? There's so many like gotchas to like think about here. Like you got what's it? Arknights is a gotcha, right? And then you got Fate Go, you got Fire Emblem Heroes, you got the one what with the horses. Oh, Christ. Oh no. I shudder to think what Mabel's going to do when she finds out about this. What did my father have to say about the letter? I couldn't bring myself to show it to him. What? Uh-oh. I've frozen because I forgot to plug my phone in. There we go. I got a low battery message. Man, I haven't done that in a while. What? Why not? Because he deliberately concealed the truth from me by telling me my father was taken by a fatal illness. That couldn't have been easy for him, and he'd done it out of consideration for my feelings. So, instead, I showed the letter to Judge Jigoku. Ah, to the other visiting student. He faltered for the briefest of moments, but then he just laughed the letter off. In that moment, I saw it on his face. He was undeniably shocked, shaken momentarily before recovering his poise. A year later, my bereaved mother succumbed to the strain of grief, and she too passed away. Oh, that's when I made up my mind that one day, without fail, I would cross the seas to Britain and seek the truth for myself. The truth about my father, Genshin Ahsoki. And I wouldn't let anyone stand in my way. Oh, Kazuma-sama. What we learned today in court turned things completely on their head. It was an impressive piece of lawyering, Ryunosuke Naruhodo. Lord Van Zykes isn't the Reaper, you know. I almost don't want to believe it myself, but it turns out that Inspector Gregson himself, the victim, was. It's clear that the Inspector was behind the Reaper's activity all along. What? You mean you knew? The real question is, who's been giving orders to the Inspector? Yes, Barak Von Zykes is the real Reaper. And I know that 10 years ago it was him who decided my father must be a mass murderer and sent him to his grave. No! He was merely seeing that justice was done as the law dictates. He's not to blame. Ultimately, it's people who condemn people. The law is just a tool that they use to do it. And when a man condemns another, he must take responsibility for his actions. Of course he must. But I know for certain that my father would never have taken another man's life. Kazuma. On the contrary, my father's life was taken by the Reaper. Christ. He is, like, really broken up about this. Probably present this to him, right? The Ahsoki Papers? Kazuma, what do you make of this? Okay, so he doesn't seem to want to talk about... Yeah, he doesn't really want to talk about any evidence right now. Okay. Fair. Fair. I should probably examine this little diorama here. What the... It's a scale model of the crime scene. Oh, yes, I realized that. The prosecution office make a model of the scene for every single case. Apparently so. Sometimes it helps to visualize things better and notice things you hadn't spotted before. Actually, the miniature notice board is my work. Be honest, you enjoyed making that. Kazuma's a Legos guy. I can see it. God, I have like a bunch of Legos I should build at some point. And like some plastic models too. Don't know that there's really anything here worth looking into. Doesn't seem like it. Lord Van Zykes' incredibly stylish desk. Not my style, though. No, I notice you've been working at the little table on the floor, kneeling down Seiza style. Thought it was some kind of punishment set up by Lord Van Zykes when I first saw it. I find it the most comfortable way to work. I can't do it. After a couple of minutes of sitting with my legs folded under me, they start to go tingly. Don't exaggerate, Ryunosuke. We both know you can't even manage a minute. Jeez. Just cut right through me, why don't you? Huh. Okay, so apparently we haven't finished here. Still notice. I don't know what to make of this. What, Alright, so I gotta figure out, like, a piece of evidence to show him, I think? It seems that way. Like, I exhausted all of the conversation options, right? Yes. Maybe there's something in here I need to examine? Could be. Do you know who the man in the portrait is? Why would I? What? But you're Lord Van Zykes' apprentice. Yes, apprentice, not friend. And during the time I was suffering from amnesia, I didn't even notice that picture. Oh, really? I mean, it's not the smallest picture. I wouldn't have the first idea what the man decorates his office with. Damn, alright. Mildly rude, but okay. Casks floor to ceiling, just like the last time we were here. Hollowed barrels, I suppose. They're arranged according to vintage, flavor, and region. Every week, they're all taken out and put back in order. What? Every week? Lord Van Zykes can't seem to settle on the perfect way of arranging them, you see. Vintage, flavor, and region don't neatly coincide. That's the trouble. Gosh, being his apprentice must be a real challenge. Actually, no. Oh? He considers the task too important to entrust to anybody else, so he does it entirely on his own. So he's a barrel of laughs here and in court, then. Oh, shut up, Ryunosuke. Shut up. Bats, bats, we are the bats. Ah! You disturbed the bats, did you? Fitting companions of Lord Van Zykes, wouldn't you say? Actually, I've seen things flying in Lord Strongheart's office, too. Doves, I think. Perhaps you have to like birds to attain rank in the judiciary here. Though bats aren't birds, of course. How about a sparrow for you? What's that supposed to mean? Oh, nothing. Sorry. Just thinking out loud. I think a trained hawk would suit him pretty well. I caught Zeal's attention. Bats are better than birds? Ah, God, I don't know. I really like birds. I really like parakeets. They're so smart. They're such clever little babies. Lord Van Zykes' fine collection of hollowed chalices and bottles, all neatly lined up. The black will parallels? Oh, you know, you're right. You're absolutely right. Yes, he's extremely particular about all that. He has a strict regime for everything, from the storage of the casks to the bottling of their contents. Gosh, he must be having a really tough time of it being his apprentice. Actually, no. He does it all himself. He's so particular about it all, he refuses to let anybody else touch any of it. It's been quite easy for me, in fact. Talk about weird. Is there anything else here? Because if I haven't asked everything I need to ask, then either there's an investigation point that I'm missing, or it's a piece of evidence, and I'm not really sure what evidence he wants to see. Over candelabrum. His photograph. That's not it. Oh, maybe the autopsy report. Yeah, here we go. This came up in the trial, didn't it? As something a little dubious, I mean. The fact that no time of death was recorded on Inspector Gregson's autopsy report. Yes, there was some unexpected turns in the courtroom earlier. The suggestion you came up with certainly took everyone by surprise. The idea that the victim died the previous day at some other location is quite something. Well, considering when the pocket watch had stopped and the scorch marks on the candle, certainly a distinct possibility. The evidence and the scene both point to it. Be honest, it bothered me too. Okay, all right. I'm gonna finish this conversation. I'm gonna take like a 2-minute break. Ugh. I'm feeling like a little bit of the sleepy like grabbing me, so I'm gonna get some caffeine in a minute. So I paid a visit to the autopsy room earlier. Coroner responsible wasn't there, but I got a name. It's Dr. Gory. If it wouldn't trouble you, Kazuma-sama.
Water, drink, water, drink, water.
Thank you, Zeal.
Drink, water, drink, water, drink, water.
We would very much like to speak with the coroner, too. Of course. The last thing I want is for anything to be brushed under the carpet. Scotland Yard's autopsy laboratory is behind Lowgate Cemetery. Lowgate Cemetery? By Barclay Prison, you mean? Ah, you know it, do you? The prison where my father was incarcerated and robbed of his life. Kazuma-sama. Well, thank you. We'll pay a visit to the laboratory later today. Ryunosuke. I want to thank you. What for? For this. You safeguarded the soul of the Ahsoki clan. Well, it is a famous sword that's been in your family for generations. My only slight regret is that I never got the chance to draw it before I returned it to you. Karuma is said to have been forged by a master swordsmith during the Sengoku Warring States period. I come from a long lineage of warriors, many of whom were expert swordsmen. How are you still the most... Ah, yes, because, I am a fool that constantly forgets to open stream labels. Here, this will update it in a second. I think you're still the most recent sub, though. Hello, Gambier, welcome on in. There we go, there we go, there we go. Thank you for the reminder, though. I always forget to open stream labels. It's not baked into OBS, so I have to, like, open it as a separate program. I should really just, like, I wonder if I can make, like, a shortcut that opens both of them. That would be cool. Well then, you're a chip off the old block, I'd say. This blade, Karuma, is the symbol of the Ahsoki clan's honor and might. Apparently, one of my father's apprentices even took the blade's name for a surname. Karuma. Wait. We've heard someone... Have we heard someone with the last name Karuma? Really? Karuma. It does sound formidable, that's for sure. Wait! Wait! Is this the ancestor of the Von Karmas? Oh no, wait a minute. 16 years ago, when my father was a visiting student here in London, he had this sword forever at his side. Which is why it means so much to me to have it by my side again now, too. And that is all thanks to you. It was an honor. Wait, have we met someone with the last name Karuma? I don't think we have, but I think the illusion here is that this is... Oh, fuck me. That's where the Von Karmas got their name. God damn it. The ancestor to the Von Karma lineage. Now, I have preparations to make for tomorrow. Perhaps I said a little too much. Kazuma, you've changed. No, Ryunosuke. I haven't changed at all. It's you who's changed. I can completely understand your resentment of Lord Van Zykes given what happened. But the fact is, those events in this case are, well, unrelated. Is that what you want to say? How can you be so sure? What do you mean? Never mind. That man is the Reaper, and it's for that reason that the inspector was killed. I'm going to prove as much in court tomorrow, by whatever means necessary. I can't let you do that, Kazuma. I know you'll do what you have to as a lawyer, but I'm sure I don't need to tell you that I won't be taking any prisoners in the courtroom. I would expect nothing less. Until tomorrow, then, in the Old Bailey. Alright, so I'm going to BRB, like, real quick to get me a little caffeine. Alright? Don't go nowhere. I will be right back. Actually, before I go, I gotta crack open a new G Fuel. Do I go with the pineapple, or do I try the Wumpa fruit? I haven't tried the Wumpa fruit yet. I have no idea if it's any good. Actually, you know what? I'm gonna go with the pineapple. I haven't had the pineapple in a while. The pineapple's really good. We're back. Hello. Hello, hello. Let's see. Probably gonna need to refill my water. Oh, maybe I should have done that a little bit. Probably should have refilled my water a bit. A little bit low. It'll be fine. It'll be fine. Okay, now comes the hard part. There we go. This particular shaker cup, like, it seals really tightly, and it's really hard to, like, get the cap open for some reason. Ooh. Yeah, that pineapple flavor is really good. It just tastes like pineapple juice. Oh, that is really, really good. Okay. I got like a bunch of tubs here that I haven't like tried just yet because I like to work my way through the tubs before I like crack open new ones. I only ever have like maybe 2 open at the same time. Cause you know, I don't want to like, they're powder. So if they get like, you know, if they're open for too long, they might start to absorb some moisture and like start to clump up, and you don't want that. It's also why I've started leaving the I leave the silica packet in the tub, so that, you know, if any more moisture gets in there, it'll just absorb it and keep the powder dry. Ah, here we go. Ah, this place has gotten a bit of a makeover. That's a whole lot of plushes. This place really is creepy, isn't it? Well, being a dead room, it's probably full of the spirits of the dissected. But actually, there's a rather pleasing scent of roses in the air. Well, being a dead room, Coroner probably needs a bold scent like that to mask the odor of death. Iris, do you think we could change the subject? What was that? Bedroom goals. Yeah, for Rod, yeah, for you, I'm sure. I'm absolutely certain. You got your kind of like macabre dolls. You got a skeleton, you got a plague doctor mask. You got, you know, a dissection table. Dr. Gory? What? That noise before. That's a cleaver! I was sharpening my tools. I'd be dead meat if I didn't keep a perfectly keen edge on them. Right. When following the collagen fibers in the dermis, an expertly sharpened scalpel cuts like cheese. Would you like a demonstration? Oh, yes, please. I'd love to see. Then, I think you'll do nicely. Huh? No, I wouldn't do nicely at all. I mean, maybe some other time. Is that a tut? Well, we came here to ask questions, so... Jesus Christ. Oh. So let's see, this is, this was Dr. Scythe's daughter? Oh, we get to see her face here. Oh, wow, she is pretty. Holy shit. Here's out all the autopsy work on corpses. Yeah, okay. So, remember when I said I had a friend that would absolutely adore her? Yeah, I gotta show this to my seal calling dibs. Yeah, she is so fucking pretty. Holy shit. The ideal goth girlfriend who will cut you open and examine your insides. Yeah, yup, yeah. I have to show this to my friend. She is going to, like, lose her shit when she sees, this woman here. We have actually met before. I'm a lawyer, if you remember. You're not dead yet? What? So Mama said I wasn't to cut you open. She's so strict about things like that. Well, good. Dr. Scythe has some scruples, at least. Oh dear. It looks like she's not interested in talking to us, for the time being anyway. Time being? You mean, until we die? Hope that's a way off. Is it Unamused? No. Unamused has played this game. Unamused already knows about all these characters. This is someone who hasn't, like, played any of these games. It's not someone any of you know, I don't think. Sorry, but I wasn't planning on dying anytime soon. Surely there's some less drastic way of making her listen. Okay. Let's check the court record, maybe. Oh wait, I gotta actually, like, hit the present button. This maybe? Don't forget, you're responsible for putting my mama in jail. Why should I help you? Fair point. Let me see, there's gotta be... Oh, right, the autopsy report. I gotta ask her about that. Dr. Gory, we actually came here to ask you about this. He was very good. Good? Sorry? His skin didn't snag my blade once, and very little mess. His joints dislocated easily, and his muscle tissue was a pleasure to work with. We can skip those details. But there is one thing about the report that's caught my attention. You don't seem to have recorded a time of death. There she is. Wow, she's pretty. That's not my fault. Oh, that made me jump. Then please, tell us what happened. Here we go. So, why doesn't this autopsy report include the victim's time of death then? It's really the most crucial detail. I was told not to write it. What? By whom? Male Strongheart, the Lord Chief Justice. He came here. Lord Strongheart came? Lord Strongheart came? Bow, wow, 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 wow. I'm willing to bet none of you understand what the hell I'm referencing, so I'm going to bring this up right now. Hang on. Hang on. What? Oh. I didn't want that. Cyberpunk. Let me see if I can find it. Yeah. Here we go.
If I need your body, I'll fucking... Dick. Why do you come? Welcome. In 2077, what makes someone a criminal? Getting caught.
All right. Sorry, I had to. I had to. I fucking love that so much. Lord Strongheart came. No. I can't do it, but now you understand. Now you understand my brainworms. Aren't I a criminal? Yeah, but it's not 2077, so shut up. He said that from the witness statements about the gunshot and the other evidence, it was obvious. The man clearly died at 5 p.m. on 1st November when the gunshot was heard. But that's not the time of death you wrote on the report. You didn't write anything. Was there some reason you didn't include it? Dr. Gory, if you're hiding something under Lord Strongheart's instructions, then sooner or later, you're going to go the same way as your mother. Give it here, then. Hmm? She's scribbling so furiously. There. You've written... What? What's she written? Tell us! Indeterminate. But... Ah. Please tell me more about that. What do you mean by that? Why was the time of death indeterminate? When the specimen was brought in, it was still fresh. The time of death could easily have coincided with when the gunshot was heard. But there was one small discrepancy. What discrepancy? There was some fried fish in the pocket of the specimen's overcoat. And that fish had started to rot. What? If the victim liked fried fish, he presumably liked to eat it before it went off. Well, yes. What are you really trying to say? Wait, I can't believe Gregson's like fried fish addiction is currently like solving the case for us. It's possible that someone tried to manipulate the apparent time of death. Manipulate the... Is that even possible to do? Theoretically, if you were to chill the body in ice, you could delay the onset of putrefaction. And if the overcoat wasn't on the body at the time, only the fish would have started to rot. With today's science, it's not yet possible to determine if the body was chilled or not. Today's science is advanced enough to let you freeze a corpse, it seems. But surely, to chill a corpse like that would require an enormous electrical refrigerator. I don't imagine many households in London are equipped with such a device. No, definitely not. But maybe in a factory, or some other special places. I don't recall seeing any factories or such like on Fresno Street, though. I wonder if the inspector's body had been chilled somehow. What might the actual time of death have been? I couldn't say for sure. But at the most, it might have been a day earlier. No. In other words, it would corroborate your previous deduction, Mr. Naruhodo. That Inspector Gregson was killed a day before his body was discovered, at a different location. Did you inform Lord Strongheart of this possibility? He simply said that there were no electrical refrigerators of that size in the vicinity. And wait, isn't it November? It's November. It's winter. Couldn't you have just stored the body outside? Oh yes, one other thing. It's something the governor of Barclay Prison told us. He said that your mother, Dr. Scythe, was responsible for confirming the death of the professor after his execution. The professor. Apparently, you always enjoyed listening to your mother's stories about her work, so we were wondering if you might know something about what happened 10 years ago. That's not all Mama did. Sorry? My Mama carried out the autopsy of Clint Van Zykes as well. What? Really? Brother of Lord Van Zykes, the professor's final victim. Did snow melt rather quick, though. I mean, if you're, like, leaving a dead body outside, it's not gonna melt the snow. And you could probably, like, shake it off the body before you, like, bring it in to, like, you know, warmer temperatures. Brother of Lord Van Zykes, the professor's final victim. The idea of carrying out an autopsy on a member of the aristocracy was completely unthinkable back then. But the detective in charge of the investigation insisted, and it was miraculously authorized. That detective being Inspector Gregson, of course. Quite an accomplishment for one man. That autopsy provided the vital clue needed to arrest the killer. And Mama was there for that historic event. What does all this mean? You know, that amazing autopsy happened right here in this very room. the professor, and Clint Van Zykes. They both spent their final moments before their burial on that dissection table there. This lab, Mama's lab, was instrumental in some of the country's most important events. She really is proud of her mother. I wonder if you'd tell us more about exactly what happened back then, Dr. Gory. Confirmation of death is, like a big one. Professor's execution was Mama's first big case. She had to be in attendance at Barclay Prison's execution chamber. And signed the certificate to confirm the convict's death. Mama's the best coroner in the world, you know. I was so proud of her. The execution didn't actually take place. No, and worse still, Mama actually helped with the jailbreak. I didn't want to know. Oh dear, you found out recently, you mean? I believed in her, in Mama, but now I wonder if I'm starting down the same path as her. You mean because you omitted the time of death on this autopsy report? But that's because Lord Strongheart forbade you from including it. Just like Mama. I'm sure she was coerced by somebody too. Yes, that's my feeling as well. There's no doubt that there were powerful forces at play 10 years ago. The execution couldn't have been staged without a lot of people at the prison knowing about it. Obviously, the prison governor must have been in on it as well. The big man with the little handcuffs, according to what he told us. He was tricked by the chief warder. He says he knew nothing about it. Of course he said that. I'd say the same thing. Just who was behind that jailbreak after all those years? All those years ago. Tell me about Clint's autopsy. What the hell did that reveal? You mentioned the autopsy of Clint Van Zykes. It was at a time when carrying out autopsies of murder victims was very unusual. It's still not a practice that's observed in our country, even now. It turned out that he was the professor's final victim, and when the autopsy was performed, Mama was present, although only as the secondary assistant. The person leading the procedure was called Dr. John H. Wilson. That's right, my daddy! And there was one other person present, a primary assistant. He was a visiting student from the Far East. Wait, a visiting student? It must have been my father, Eugen Mikotoba. I had no idea Professor Mikotoba had been involved with something so important. But the outcome of that historic autopsy was the discovery of a vital piece of evidence that led to the capture of the professor. So that's how they came to identify Genshin Ahsoki as the infamous mass murderer. Do you happen to know anything about that piece of evidence? Can you tell us any more? Would you like to see the records for yourself? What? Would that be all right? What's the point of keeping records if people can't look at them? They're filed under V at the back of those cupboards, with the other records from the last decade. Thank you! That's huge. Let's see, Van Zykes. That's strange. What, Mr. Naruhodo? They aren't here. There's nothing under Van Zykes. There must be. Perhaps somebody took them away? No one's allowed to take documents related to the professor case out of this room. You're right. They're gone! Well, when was the last time somebody looked at them? Do you remember? It was... Oh yes, I remember now. It was 2 years ago. A consulting detective came one day, saying that he'd like to see the records. No. You don't mean... Sherlock Sholmes was his name. Ah, no, come on, Sholmes. Deep down, I knew that was coming. Do you think he stole the records? Oh no, surely not. Iris, that can't be right, can it? Iris? Iris? Uh-oh. Runo? I hope you don't mind, but... What is it, Iris? I just remembered something very important I have to do. I'm going to have to leave you now. Oh, this is very sudden, Iris. Well, we'll come with you then. Oh no, there's no need. You and Runo can take your time here. Bye for now then. Good luck. Uh-oh. Wait a minute, little girl. Me? I remember now. You've been here before, haven't you? Iris? Have you, Iris? Yes, 2 years ago, when that detective came. You were with him, weren't you? You were a living specimen then, too. That's the way it usually works, yes. Uh-oh. Was I? I really don't remember. Anyway, sorry, but I must dash. Wait, Iris. I'll brew up a pot for you when I get home. What's the matter with her? She's behaving really strangely all of a sudden. Well, in that case, we won't keep you any longer either. Been quite a while since I had any visitors. This was really fun. The next time you come, I preferred if you were ready for dissection. I can't make any promises, sorry. A bit strange that the records of Clint Van Zykes' autopsy have disappeared. But I think we've asked all we came to ask now. Okay. Bye, Maria! All of chat just going, I'm ready now. You can do that right now. I'll get on the table for you. How's this? I'm, knife play ain't my cup of tea, but, you know, God bless to the people that are getting their kicks. Anyway. Where should we go now? Oop, didn't mean to double click that, but, well, the Scottish man isn't here anyway. The Fresno street room, okay. Yeah, we haven't been here in a while. Let's check this place out, I suppose. Maybe Gina's here. Police are still busily investigating her in here, then. But Gina's nowhere to be seen. Where is she? Yes, it has been blissfully quiet, hasn't it? Celexa, hey, welcome on in. How you doing? She's a seal. God, I really do need to tell my friend, like, because the funny thing is, like, whatever. I'm excited for that. Anyway, I think Iris might have been the one that stole those documents, or she's very aware that Shom stole the documents. Oh, packing up. Oh, okay. Well, I hope packing has been going well, Lexi. Well, I suppose she'll be back before too long. Shall we wait? Actually, there's something different about this room since the last time we were here, isn't there? We could always use the time to investigate more thoroughly. Yeah, hang on. The fuck? Why is the stool broken? What? Nothing particular of note? Is that not it? Guess that's not it. Okay. There's this trunk here, I guess. This little trunk wasn't here before, was it? Oh! It appears to be made of metal. It must be very heavy. I wonder to whom it belongs. Let's open it. Let's steal it. There's some initials on the outside. Look. TG. Tobias Gregson? Let's ask one of the policemen if they know how it came to be here. Oi! What do you think you're doing? Gina! That's my trunk it is. Hands off. Gina! Where were you hiding? I don't know. Leave something unattended for a few seconds. Every Tom, Dick, and Harry's got his greedy eyes on it. Just a wild guess, Gina, but... What? Spit it out, Otto. Is it fair to say that you've only owned that trunk since this morning's trial? What? What are you trying to say? Come on, this trunk goes with me everywhere. Always has. Where have you been the last year? Trying not to incur your wrath, mainly. Oh, Gina, never change. You should hear them talking at the yard now. They should be ashamed of themselves. They're saying that it was the boss who killed all them bludgers. Ah, you mean the whole Reaper thing? Yeah. Apparently, the boss was investigating stuff that no one else at the yard knew nothing about. Stuff to do with all them criminals what got off scot-free. Yes, the ones prosecuted by Lord Van Zykes, who used bribery and corruption to evade conviction. Well then, obviously, it was that bloomin' Reaper giving him the orders, weren't it? But why would people be suspecting Inspector Gregson of being involved in the killings? There was a notebook hidden in his office. Oh no, this doesn't sound good. It had details about all the crimes that have been pegged as the Reaper's work. What? No. Did you see it, Gina? Did you see that notebook? They wouldn't flamin' let me, because I'm just an apprentice, apparently. But it was me who found it, and he was my boss. That's right. I was pretty miffed about it, so I sneaked a peek at it, at what it said. Yes, anyway. Oh, that's our Gina. Hell yeah, hell yeah. Ah, oh, pickpocket after my own heart. So you managed to see what was written in Gregson's secret notebook anyway, did you? Why, I see it. It's my right to read what he wrote. And what had he written, Gina? Dates, times, places, names, an whole long list of them. All details about the bludgeons supposed to have been done in by the Reaper. But there could be an explanation for that. Perhaps it was a record of the Inspector's investigations into the Reaper's activities. Exactly! That's what I said! That's the first thing you'd think, right? As it happens, it was full of names I recognized anyway. Well, the Reaper's targets were almost exclusively known leaders of London's criminal underworld. Well, yeah, but there was one name right at the end that was a bit odd. The end of the list, you mean? I'm pretty sure the date against it was 31st October. Oh, the day before the Inspector was found dead. So, what was the odd name? It weren't like a name I've seen before. It was something like, No, it's no good. I can't remember it. I don't think it was an English name, put it that way. Oh dear, what a pity. There was something else, too. I don't know if it matters, but the same name kept coming up over and over. Shin, it was. Don't suppose it means anything, but... Asashin. Did you say... Sheen? Eh? What? It means something. Lord Van Zykes knew the name too. He mentioned her as well. The woman who actually did the deeds. And now we find out her name appeared in Gregson's secret notebook. We haven't seen you for a little while, have we, Gina? Well, of course not. I've been busy, ain't I? Investigating in that. The lads at the yard are trying to trace the boss's movements to the day before it happened. Day before... That would be the undercover investigation into the Red-Headed League, then. Only the boss didn't go, did he? He found some cove what was pretending to be him, didn't you, Otto? Yes, it was Mr. Vigil who actually went to the park on Lime Street that day, posing as Gregson. Well, anyway, you ain't the only one turning stuff up. I've got my own ways of getting results. Oh, yes! It's Toby! Right, that was his name, wasn't it? When me and my partner here get together, there's nothing we can't track down. Oh, little Toby! He's such a faithful friend. Look at him! Look at the little baby! So have you tracked anything down then? What do you think, eh? Of course we have. Can't tell you though. Police business, isn't it? Ah. Anyway, point is, if you lot ever need any help, you know who to turn to, right? Me and the little hellhound here. I love him. Right. Because he looks oh so hellish, honest. The hellhound? Gina, about your hellhound there. Yes, pick him up. Show me the baby again. Chief Inspector Toby, you mean? He's the pride of the force, he is. In Japanese, police dog means something quite different, and not altogether nice to those involved in crime. But here in Britain, it's a wonderful compliment, it seems. For a canine, at least. Should be. After all, in the Great Exhibition case the other day, it was Toby here who managed to locate Drebber's workshop. Maybe it's time for another demonstration of what this super dog can do, eh? Do we have something the Chief Inspector could catch the scent of, I wonder? Huh. What would we be looking for? Something... Oh, you know, I have an idea. I don't know. What would we be looking for at the moment? Well, Chief Inspector Toby, if you wouldn't mind having a sniff of this. Might be a little too keen, don't you think? Ah! Oh no. Chief Inspector made short work of Gina there. Woof! Ah, look what he's gone to. Oh my, that trunk clearly still has a very strong scent. Oh, the trunk, right! It's to prove that the trunk belonged to Gregson. Of Inspector Gregson. In other words, it must have belonged to him. Oh, all right. It's a fair cop, I suppose. And you nearly got away with it, too. You always talk so proudly of Chief Inspector Toby's nose and what it can achieve. Did it not cross your mind that he might identify something that was right next to us? Yeah, that was a bit of a bloomer, weren't it? That's enough now then, Gina. Eh? I think it's time you told us the truth about that trunk. Okay. I thought we were gonna track something down. No, okay, this makes sense. I was like, maybe if I give like the little Toby a little something from Gregson's person, maybe he'll be able to sniff out where the body was stored. No, it just the trunk, obviously. It weren't like that. It just weren't. What are you talking about? I know what's going on through that head of yours, but that ain't what happened. All right then, what did happen? Well, like I said before, we were trying to trace the boss's movements. So I let Toby have a whiff of the boss's overcoat. As soon as I done that, he went off like a shot. Straight to that sandwich. To a sandwich? Not to a bag of chips? Mr. Naruhodo, I believe Gina means the witness. Oh, right, his name's Sandwich. Oh, I forgot about that sandwich. Yeah, he had it hidden between them wooden boards of his. The boss's trunk. What? Why did Bippo have that? That was his name, right? Bippo? I think his name was Bippo. You mean, when they heard the sound of a gunshot... Blech. You mean, when they heard the sound like a gunshot and all piled in here... Exactly. He nabbed it from the scene. Goodness. Me and the Chief Inspector gave that sandwich a good grilling, and you know what he said? I thought it might fetch a good price, and the chap wouldn't be needing it anymore, so... But that's all I did. Nothing more. Nothing less. What do you Adam and Eve the cheek of it, eh? Stealing the dead boss's stuff to flog. So Miss Venus wasn't the only one to meddle with the scene of the crime, then. How could they? So anyway, that's how it happened. It's a pretty decent trunk, so I figured I might as well make use of it. Is there something wrong with that, eh? Well, maybe you and Mr. Sandwich should try to find the answer to that question together. Can I look inside the trunk now, please? I think perhaps that trunk should be turned over to the police, don't you? What are you on about? I am the police. Gina, if you wouldn't mind, could we maybe examine it? Yeah, alright then. Do what you want with it. Thank you. We shall make a detailed record of our examination of the evidence. Grr? What's the matter with Toby? Why is he acting so aggressively toward me all of a sudden? Mr. Naruhodo, be careful! It must be the trunk. Whoa! What the fuck? Toby! Oi, what you doing? You're gonna lick his face off! Mr. Naruhodo! Mr. Naruhodo! Gina, quickly! Hail a carriage! What the fuck just happened? I blacked out! Death by dog. Death by puppy lick face. Oh, Mr. Naruhodo, are you alright? Mr. Sato. Ah, conscious again at last. A blessed relief, my dear fellow. After all, to drop dead after a moderate licking by a small terrier, most unseemly. What is or isn't seemly is irrelevant here, Mr. Sholmes. Good God. So glad there's no lasting damage. How are you feeling? I'm fine, thank you. Did you bring me back here? What's this on my head? A bandage? Sadly, we had no ice, so that's a compress of sugar water. Sugar water? Don't worry, Mr. Naruhodo. It's a first aid treatment that my father taught me. Oh, thank you. So, let us take tea when you're feeling up to it. But of course, no sugar in the patient's cup. The bump on my head is throbbing sweetly enough, don't worry. Whenever you feel ready, then. Okay, let me check that court record. We still have the trunk, right? Okay, thank God. Let's examine this here. Whoop. I keep forgetting that right click is back up, not turn to examine. Have you seen this huge gash across the side of the trunk here? It's gone right through the leather and into the metal behind. Gosh, for metal chests like this to have been so badly damaged, whoever made the gash must have struck the side of the trunk with considerable force. Wonder how it happened. It must have happened when the trunk was open too, because the slash, like, it starts here and then continues this way, and there's no, like, slash on this part of the trunk, so it must have been open. Oh, there's blood! Cool! Look at this dark stain here. Do you think... Phrasing? Yes, I'm afraid so. I think it's blood. I knew you were going to say that. So that presumably means... Imagine what the papers would say if a terrier licked you to death. God. I don't want to imagine. I don't want to die from being licked to death by a puppy. I mean, that might be a good way to go out, but it's also kind of pathetic. This was present at the scene when Inspector Gregson was killed. Most logical conclusion, yes. I think Gina's been carrying this around with her. I didn't know any better. I suppose it does look like a grease stain from all the fish and chips. Alright, so... Oh, this sucker needs a key, doesn't it? Let's have a look inside. Oh, nope, guess not. What do we have here? Look, there's something inside. Ooh, let's see. It appears to be a passport, authorizing him to travel overseas. Inspector Gregson about to go on a trip abroad, then. Perhaps the date of departure might tell us something. That was... Oh! What is it? It was for travel on the 31st of October, just one day before the incident. What? Really? It's issued for travel to France the day before his body was discovered. Gregson went to France the day before his body was discovered? Well, he did say he was, like, moving, like, his operation... He was going to start working in France, right? So that makes sense that he would go there, but... Thank you for your concern, Mr. Sholmes. My dear fellow, think nothing of it. I must say I was quite startled when I heard that you'd been attacked by a dog. For a moment, I feared that infamous murder of so many had come back from the dead. You mean, the professor? Fortunately, I see your prized throat is unscathed. That stiff, turned-up collar of yours obviously afforded some welcome protection. Was I that close to death? All I really remember is the dog licking my face over and over and over again. Well, if you wish to avoid such troubles in the future, a little mustard spread on the cheeks should do the trick. I should think that would balance the sweetness of your bandage rather splendidly. Thank you, Sholmes! You know just what to say. Alright, so I guess we're moving downstairs, right? Let's have some tea and just relax a little bit after all those events.
Mit dem Schwarzbiergebot brodelt wie ein Feuerberg, den Schlund es mir verbrannt, ach Hopfen deine Wut.
What?
Herr mit dem Knacker ich befahl, hat wie ein Diamant den Zahn entzwei es brach, o über deine Wut.
Why is there a German man singing a cappella? Why does Iris look so sad? Why is Mikotoba wearing the mask that Cosmo was wearing? And why is he, like, just laid out on the couch? What the fuck is happening? What on earth is going on in here? Am I having a bad dream? Ah, no, it's an old German folk song. Rather fine rendition, I think. That's the least of my concerns. Iris? Iris, what's the matter? Who is that sprawling? I mean, that relaxed gentleman over there? Iris? Is she even listening? Wait, the tea set's broken. He has a cup of tea in his hand. Did she drug him? Excuse me, sir. I do apologize for troubling you whilst you're singing so merrily, but... Would you be kind enough to explain the situation? Well, that worked. A crooning gentleman and a mature young... a crooning gentleman and a mute young girl. A rather tantalizing juxtaposition. Is he the one singing? What? And one that appears to have incited the gods of deduction within me to find their voices too. Ah, Mr. Sholmes, do you mean... The strains of reasoning within me are playing now as a delightful duet. One melody sings of a reunion full of nostalgia, whilst the other is a morose theme about the great secret you're trying so desperately to conceal, Iris. She's turned as white as a sheet. So as usual, you've instantly seen to the very heart of the matter. Aw, here we go. Hell yeah. I was wondering if we were gonna get another big deduction. And by the time my own brief performance is over, I feel sure this gentleman's song will reach its finale. So then, to Music Land, where all is sweetness and delicacy and harmony. Pray, do enjoy Sherlock Sholmes' latest Logic and Reasoning Spectacular. Hell yes! I love these. I love these so much. Firstly, we consider the gentleman's nationality. Clearly, he's a German with no grasp of the English language, as evidenced by the Germanic song he sings and his apparent inability to understand when asked to desist. So, why is the man here at all, and in such apparently high spirits? Wait, why is Mikotoba the one singing it? What the fuck? I thought it was like playing from the gramophone or something. Answer, of course, Iris, is clearly known to you. Indeed, we need only follow the gaze of those bright young eyes to unravel that particular part of this mystery. The reason for the man's mildly irritating warbling is revealed by the herbal tea. You obviously offered our German guest a cup of your latest herbal blend. The tea's delectable flavor has made the man's spirits soar, and resulted in this joyful ditty tumbling incessantly from his lips. I eagerly await sampling the flavor myself, that I may join the fellow in his state of elation. Now to the next question. Who exactly is this gentleman availing himself so thoroughly of the settee? As it happens, a number of years ago now, a certain gentleman of German origin engaged my services in solving a particularly delicate case. He required the retrieval of letters once sent to an acquaintance that might have proved problematic. I think it might be the gramophone and Herlock's just an idiot. Yeah, of course it is. I was like, I thought maybe they were just like skimping on the animation a little bit, but yeah, the more you say it, yeah, it probably is the gramophone. I'm pretty sure I heard that like, that soft sort of, like analog static sound that comes from the, that comes from the, from like playing a record on like an old-timey gramophone. You know, that sort of like very soft like crackle and pop as the record spins. The gentleman's name was Wilhelm Gottfried Sigismund von Ormstein, the King of Germany. My memory serves, the mask worn by this gentleman is identical. Yes, there can be no question. That mask belongs to the King of Germany. It would appear that His Majesty remembers the fine service I afforded him, and has decided to show his face again, mask and all, in order to express his gratitude. A well-mannered monarch indeed. Wouldn't you agree, my dear fellow? My God, Sholmes. So the identity of this masked visitor is in fact my former client, the King of Germany. Indeed, his son is currently in London as well, enjoying the wonders of the Great Exhibition. Oh, that's right. We met his son, didn't we? He was part of the last case. He was the prince from the balloon ride. I remember him. Which leaves us with one remaining imponderable. Yes, you, young Iris. Well, but your apparently inexplicable silence is unable to hide the truth. Yes, the reason for your muteness is concealed inside that knapsack. A 5-pound note, I believe. I must say, as your compatriot, I'm deeply saddened. It would appear that you've allowed yourself to be bribed into silence by His Royal Highness, earning yourself some spending money in exchange for keeping quiet about the King's secret. And now the final piece of the puzzle. What is this secret you strive to hide with your silence, Iris? Ah, yes, we need only follow that brief involuntary twitch of your eyes to find the answer. You were attempting to abscond with that coffee cup. My favorite coffee cup, in fact. Or should I say, the handle of my favorite coffee cup. It appears that His High-Spirited Highness broke it in the midst of his hijinks. Which leads us to the sad truth. My favorite coffee cup has been broken by the King of Germany. And Iris, you tried to conceal it from me. I shall have a bill sent via governmental channels to the German royal family for its replacement. Oh my god. Sholmes, no. I think Ornstein is actually a Sherlock Holmes character. Honestly, they do make a lot... I know they make a lot of references to Sherlock Holmes. If I had actually read the books, I would probably be able to pick up on them. Thus concludes Sherlock Holmes's great deduction of this painful puzzle.
Mit dem Schwarzbiergebot modend wie ein Feuerwerk.
With your silence as well, the fellow's jovial warbling rather rings in the ears, does it not?
Opfen deine mit dem
Mr. Sholmes, I must say something does rather trouble me. Static, hey, how's it going? Welcome on in. How's it going? Pray, Mr. Sato, do tell. His Royal Highness doesn't appear to have moved a muscle since we arrived. Ah. And you haven't said a word either, Iris. If Mr. Sholmes has it all right, you might as well own up to it now. Your reasoning isn't entirely without substance, I must admit. Oh, chicken tendies, nice. I'm looking forward to dinner after this. I have some leftover onion rings and pretzel bites from the chicken sandwich I had last night. Which, maybe not the most wholesome dinner, but it's gonna taste really good. One other thing, Mr. Sholmes. Yet another grievance, Mr. Naruhodo. Surely not. Well, I actually read the story of that case recently, the one you were just describing. And according to that, at least, it wasn't the King of Germany. It was the King of Bohemia. Oh, so Rotten had the right of it. It was Bohemia. Goodness, was it? Yes, that's quite true, Master Gott. That's quite true. Master Gotz, the prince, testified to that in court. In his words, I have come to see the great exhibition all the way from my home in Bohemia. I would ask you to keep that minor error to yourselves. It could easily become quite a scandal. I believe, Mr. Naruhodo, that it's our turn now to make some corrections to a number of minor errors that may have slipped in. Yes, even Mr. Sholmes is willing to admit that he might be slightly wide of the mark this time. Oh, I love cooking too. I wish I had more time for it. That's the only thing. Time constraints are what keep me cooking more often. Like last week I made this really good, like, cream sauce, like, sausage pasta dish. Ooh, it was amazing. It just felt really good to cook again, too. Need to find out the truth behind this mysterious scene. But one truth is incontrovertible. My favorite coffee cup is no more. So, shall we embark again on a joint presentation of Sherlock Holmes's Logic and Reasoning Spectacular? Heard rumor that Alistair's a really good cook. That's true. That's true. Rotten knows someone who has actually eaten my cooking before. I made her risotto. I remember that. Get yourself a slow cooker. Become a warlock with a bubbling cauldron. I have a slow cooker. It's like an all-in-one like slow cooker and pressure cooker. I don't think I've done much slow cooking with it. I have done some pressure cooking though. So, firstly, consider the gentleman's nationality. Yeah, it's not. He's not German. Yes, we've been through this. She's glancing at the gramophone. Yeah, she's not glancing at the tea, Sholmes. Come on now. You make all this claim about how, you know, people's eyes give them away, and then you follow the direction of their eyes the wrong way. I can be a warlock and a necromancer. Ooh. Yeah, they are good if you don't have time for a stove. God, I remember one of my poor static members. We ran really late, like doing like raiding one night, and he had ribs in a slow cooker, and he was lamenting the fact that his ribs, by the time that we finished, they had been slow cooking like for a while, and by the time we finished, they had like turned to mush. And we were all like, "Wait, we didn't know that you actually like started cooking them. Wait a minute." We thought you were waiting to start cooking. And like, to be fair though, you know, even in ribs like turned to mush in a slow cooker, he was like, "Oh, I'll just turn them into like shredded pork. It's fine." It's like, "Oh yeah, that's true." We were all very sad that we had like spoiled his dinner, but like, it's a slow cooker. Even if the ribs turn to like complete mush, you can salvage that in like a sandwich, right? Probably. So what? It's some mix of herbs that gives you the urge to sing. Goodness, I should like to try some. And I'd like to hear your singing. But this man... Just how long does he intend to keep up with that tune, do you suppose? As I said, he's been stuck still the entire time. And if you look closely, his lips aren't moving either. Ah. So I'm not sure what's actually responsible for this spirited singing. I suspect the answer lies at the end of Iris's gaze. Wow, y'all really just gonna look directly at the man's dick, just straight off the bat, just immediately? Just put my cursor right over his crotch, why don't you? Sure, okay, fine. No, that's fine. That's cool. It's probably the gramophone. Wait, this is a gramophone still rarely seen in our own country. The sound certainly appears to be coming from the horn. But machines singing? That can't be right. Science and technology are changing the world rapidly, Mr. Naruhodo. What's right is changing too. It's too much for my brain. Well, at least we've found our answer.
Take that!
Yeah, I'm getting hungry too. I was originally planning on maybe doing like an investigation and the trial. I didn't expect the investigation to take another like 3 hours, considering we already gave it like half an hour last session. So yeah, next trial date is gonna be next week at this rate. The reason for the man's mildly irritating warbling is revealed by the gramophone. Indeed. For no well-bred gentleman would break into an obscure folk song when making a social call. In other words, this gentleman isn't singing at all. In fact, it would appear that the fellow is unconscious. Ah, the music seems to have stopped now. Time for Cheshire to catch up. And I believe, if I am correct here, that Rotten is Cheshire. One and the same here. Is it possible for VTubers to do a cooking stream with VTube Studio? I think people have done that. There are cooking VTubers. It's possible, but it's very difficult. And you need like a hand cam. So you like mount a camera like to face like the stove, or you could wear it like strapped to your chest, maybe? Rotten's the VTuber name. Yeah. Celexa, do you want to tell the funny story, or should I? About how, Rotten, you followed the channel while, Celexa was watching, Ryu, and Ryu got hit by, a Become Famous bot. You know, like, "Oh, you want to become famous? Follow this link for followers and primes." You followed very shortly after that, and your account was brand new. So Celexa marked you as suspicious. And that was just very funny to me. And then, like, you started talking in chat, and I'm like, wait a minute, Rip Rotten. Oh, wait, I know who that is. I know that. I know who would have a name like that. Hang on. It's just a really funny and unfortunate coincidence. The music seems to have stopped now. I ask you, Mr. Naruhodo. Yes? Why would I have purchased a recording of that gibberish? How should I know? Rotten, no! No putting yourself down like that. No, absolutely not. I forbid it. Stop that. Didn't outright ban because it felt it was more coincidence than sus behavior. Yeah, good call. Good call. God, it would have been so unfortunate if Rotten like walked into stream today and like, oh, I'm banned from chat. What? Oh, that would have been so sad. I would have been so upset. Well, never mind. On with the deduction. Yeah, Rotten can handle that on their own. Who exactly is the gentleman availing himself so thoroughly of the settee? As it happens, oh right, he's gonna say it's the King of Germany. No, this is not the King of Germany. Or Bohemia, or whatever. No, not the King of Germany. Although we've already established that it was actually the King of Bohemia. It seems Mr. Shums intends to persist with his Germany theory for some reason. Come to think of it, the young prince was wearing a mask as well, wasn't he? Mr. Gotts, the boy whom you had in tears, don't remind me, or anyone else. You suppose all members of the aristocracy of mainland Europe wear masks? Sure they do. Well, probably anyway. The point is, that mask doesn't belong to any king. No, that's right, as we well know, because we can identify the true owner of this mask. The mask actually belongs to Kazuma. As a point of fact. Where is he? Kazuma? Oh, there he is.
Take that!
Yes, there can be no question. That mask belongs to Kazuma Ahsoki. In other words, my memory is sublimely unreliable. Only you could try to make that sound positive. Kazuma's mask has been languishing on this metal chest for several days. But that doesn't explain why the gentleman is wearing it now. But it is now a simple matter to determine our guest's true identity. After all, the gentleman is unconscious. We need only excuse ourselves in advance, gently lift the mask, and peer beneath it. Ah, well, there we go. Like I said, it's Mikotoba. I don't believe it. Ah! Father! I'm afraid, Mr. Sato, you must be... No, I think not, Mr. Sholmes. Then it would appear our logic and reasoning has once again revealed the truth. This mysterious visitor is my unconscious father, Yujin Mikotoba. Iris, what the fuck did you do? Logic and reasoning? Or just looking and saying? Yeah, I love their animations too. They're so good. This little dance of like deduction they do. I love this so much. I love the logic and reasoning spectaculars. Which leaves us with one remaining imponderable. You, young Iris. But your apparently inexplicable silence is unable to hide the truth. Yes, the reason for your mutinous is concealed inside your knapsack. That's a 5-pound note poking out from Iris's knapsack, is it? Oh dear, I can't be sure. Most money that we encounter is in coin form. I know. I'm not even sure we've seen any banknotes here in Britain at all, have we? But anyway, Father would never have paid money for Iris's silence. He certainly seems like the silent type himself, though, judging by his present state. Must be some other reason for Iris's silence, I suppose. Perhaps what Iris is trying so hard not to give away with her eyes is something entirely different. Let's see. Is it the coffee cup? Oh, there we go. I was just trying to turn it the wrong way. I believe... No, it's not that coffee cup. What are we looking at here? The Persian slipper. Teapot? No. Metal chest? Oh, it's slightly open, isn't it? This metal chest, it contains important documents, doesn't it? Yes, details of all the cases Mr. Sholmes has worked on over the years. Written up by Iris's father, if I'm remembering correctly. Iris insists that the chest is kept locked at all times. She's never once shown me inside. And it's unlocked! Well, its contents are invaluable to her, I suppose. And entirely irreplaceable. Look at it now. The catch is unlocked for once. Ah, so it is! Iris really did steal those papers, didn't she? It's hard to ignore. Very. I've never seen that chest unlocked before in all the time we've been staying here in Baker Street.
Take that!
Iris, you really did steal those papers, didn't you? Holy shit. Yes, the reason for your muteness is concealed inside that metal chest. An excellent observation, for upon closer inspection, there is something different about that chest's appearance. It's kept locked at all times, yet now, the catch is open. Evidently, this has something to do with your refusal to speak, Iris. But it's a simple enough matter to incite you to speak, I'm sure. I merely need to open this chest. Here we go. No! Hurley, don't! What? What? Holy shit, the chest was booby-trapped. Well, I guess Iris didn't drug him. She just knocked him the fuck out. Never. Oh, Hurley, I told you not to open it. I've been waiting years for Herlock to get socked. Yeah, I feel that. Good fucking God. Ah, so you found your voice now, Iris? In other words, what just happened clearly reveals the truth here. Yes, the real reason for your silence until now is... This is somewhat different than the usual dance of deduction that you perform with Mr. Sholmes, isn't it? Well, he's left me alone on the ballroom floor, so I'm going to have to dance this next part solo. But anyway, I need to get to the bottom of this for my own peace of mind. Now then, Iris isn't usually the silent type, so... You mean you don't actually know the answer yet, despite that knowing point of the finger before? Miss Susato, sometimes a man needs to point his finger first and think later. That's right. That's right. Sometimes point first, think later. Or, you know, just think never. That's what I do. Who needs thinking? Brain? Don't need that. I have coins in my head. Oh, well, if you say so. I think we'd better examine Iris more closely and try to rescue the situation then. Now's the time to look at that paper, right? I'm assuming. For some reason, this knapsack is really standing out as suspicious to me today. Oh, is it? It's quite sizable enough for a sizable secret. That's what I say. Perhaps it is. We certainly can't open it up to look inside without Iris's permission. No, you're right. Who knows what might pop out and punch us? Oh, the key! She's got a key in her hand.
Take that!
Yes, The real reason for your silence until now is that key behind your back. Well, yeah, I gotta point fingers at people. This is shouty pointer too. So of course I have to shout and I have to point. It's very important. The entire premise of the game. Mr. Sholmes was thrown into the air before. Oh, we get to see it again. Yes, show it to me one more time. Just before you called out to try to stop him, you slipped something out of your mouth. Oh, she was hiding the key in her mouth. That something is the key now in your hands. No doubt the key to the chest. You're so clever, Runo. And now it becomes clear. Thanks to Mr. Sholmes' graphic demonstration, we can well imagine what happened here. But Professor Mikotoba also opened that metal chest only to be punched into the air and land sprawled on the settee. But wait, that doesn't explain all the facts. What about the stylish scarf and the cup of tea? And above all, why would he be wearing Kazuma-sama's mask? Well, for those curious details, I can think of only one explanation. Clearly, an unbelievable miracle took place in this room. Isn't that right, Iris? Consider how the room was arranged before this whole painful experience took place. When Professor Mikotoba opened the chest, completely unaware of what awaited him inside, the mask was flung into the air just as he was, only to land neatly on his face when it fell back down. The teacup's journey through the air ended when it was caught on the unconscious professor's finger. What? Really? But how would that have happened? His hand is turned downward like that. That's not possible. There's no way for the cup to catch on his finger like that. Like, okay, the scarf maybe. The mask, that's a fucking stretch. But the cup? Literally impossible. Unless it clipped through his finger. So you mean to say that the stylish scarf is actually just a tablecloth? This is the great detective's office, after all. A place of miraculous deductions. Would you expect anything less? Saying it was caught on his hand on the way up before he landed. Okay. All right, I'll let them have that then. Yes, you're right. It happened exactly as you said. Brilliant, Runo. Thus concludes Ryunosuke Naruhodo's great deduction of this punchy puzzle. Oh no, he's becoming more like Sholmes with every passing day. So then, why don't I make a fresh pot of tea for us all?
Objection!
Oh, Sholmes, you're okay. And we just got an objection from him. Cool. An admirable performance, Mr. Naruhodo. But in the final act of the show there, you rather missed everything of importance. Mr. Sholmes, you would cast your mind back to my earlier deduction. Iris, clearly you're hiding a great secret. Ah, she is? From the look on her face, Mr. Sholmes must be right. Whatever that great secret is, the cat isn't out of the bag yet. So I put it to you again. You were attempting to abscond with that coffee cup. No, it was the documents. It really is a shame about Mr. Sholmes' cup. It must have been smashed when Professor Mikotoba opened the chest. Oh dear, so many things seem to have been broken here. Now the deduction has taken a different direction. Iris doesn't seem to be trying to hide the broken cup anymore. In other words, her great secret is something else. Let's put her observational skills to work here one final time then. Let's see. Okay, this one might actually be the document sticking out of her knapsack, right? I think. Surely this time at last, the knapsack is going to be the answer. I'm really not sure why you're so intent on showing Iris's bag to be complicit in these events. Because it's a sizable bag, big enough to carry things around, Mr. Naruhodo. That's what bags are for. So, the knapsack might never see the limelight, you mean? I really wouldn't like to say. Okay, maybe not. Is there anything back here, maybe? Don't see anything over there. Nothing there. Let's see. Is there anything else to even, like, look at, though? Like, there's the coffee cup, obviously. There's the shattered bits over there. Can I look at the chest again? No. A good punch. Thank you, Celexa. Oh my god, what the what am I doing here? What are we looking for? Are we sure it's not the knapsack? I kind of think it's the knapsack. Nope. Okay. Perhaps you'll allow me to offer an opinion here. As far as I can tell, much like that bag, there's a very obviously a crumpled up piece of paper sticking out of her bag. That's got to be, like, part of it. She's trying to, like, run away with the documents that she stashed in there. Extremely important somehow. Ah. What is it then? Do I have to, like... Oh! I was right, but I was looking in the wrong place. Ah, look. There seem to be more important papers there. Is Iris trying to hide them underneath the tray? The insignia, Mr. Naruhodo. It's an official Scotland Yard document. My head is full of useless junk. It's not useless junk. It's gold. It is coins. It's very valuable. It's not useless junk. Shut up. That is what my head is full of. That's what I have in place of a brain, because who needs one? What? But why would Iris have... We must ask her. An official Scotland Yard document.
Take that!
You are attempting to abscond with that case file. Iris, as you know very well, nothing escapes the attention of a great detective. Oh no. We visited Scotland Yard's autopsy laboratory earlier today, and Dr. Gorey informed us that the autopsy report of Clint Van Zykes had gone missing. Clint Van Zykes? Yes, I do seem to recall that some years ago I asked to see the report in question. You were with me, weren't you, Iris? You mean it was you, Iris? So those papers you have there are... I'm sorry. Forgive me. Aw, Iris. Why did you take them, though? What reason could you have had for stealing them? Like Sholmes I could almost understand, but I can't think of any reason for Iris to steal those papers. In truth, I would have liked to have thought I could have predicted the booby-trapped chest. But it caught me completely off guard. I was very nearly the late consulting detective Herlock Sholmes. I made a kid cry. Yeah, but, you know... Ghost, you and I both watch Iris. Making children cry is just par for the course. I'm sorry, Hurley. So you mean this autopsy report really is... Yes, I took it from the lab, even though I knew it was very important. Was there something in it that troubled you, Iris? Not exactly something that troubled me. Something I'd been looking for. When I saw this report, When I saw the writing in it, I knew it was Daddy's. The writing? Your father's writing? What do you really mean? Iris? Must be something that's hard for her to talk about. Forgive me for interrupting, my dear fellows. Mr. Sholmes, what is it? I feel as though the poor unconscious gentleman on the settee has been somewhat forgotten. Ah, Father! Perhaps we should find our guest somewhere more peaceful to rest. Mr. Naruhodo, yes? Would you be so kind as to lend him your bed? We must do our very best to make him comfortable, I feel. Oh, yes, of course. I'll help you carry him up. So will I. No, I can manage alone, thank you. You have tea to enjoy. We wouldn't want Iris's brew to stew. All right, bye, Sholmes. Because there's no better way to make the professor comfortable than dragging him upstairs like a trunk. I wonder, perhaps that was deliberate. Maybe Mr. Sholmes is making himself scarce to give Iris the chance to talk more freely. We must use this opportunity to talk with Iris. Yeah, we live with Sholmes in his attic. We live in his attic. And find out what's going on. Would you like to tell us about it, Iris? About your father? I'm sure I told you before, didn't I? That Daddy used to be Hurley's partner. Yes, and that notes about all the cases they solved together are kept inside that metal chest. That's right. Hurley told me, you see. He said that Daddy's somewhere far away now, so we can't meet. That's one way of describing it. Then, when I secretly unlocked the chest and read through the papers inside, I started to build up a picture in my mind of what Daddy must be like. Well, that's only natural. You're just like any other girl your age. I read that Daddy was a professor of medical science, so I studied and took my degree too. Well, that's only natural, I suppose. That's right. Iris has a college degree. Remember that, please. In that respect, you're not quite like any other girl your age, though. But there was one thing that I could never find out. Daddy's name. Ah, his name wasn't anywhere on any of the notes that he'd made about his work with Hurley. But then one day... That's what happened, is it? When you saw this autopsy report, you finally managed to work it out. Is that right? Yes. So it was the handwriting in the report that caught her eye. Ah, okay. When I saw the writing on that report, I could hardly believe it. I know that handwriting, I thought to myself, because it was the same as the writing you'd seen on your father's case notes. Exactly. I was desperate to compare the two properly. I needed to see them side by side. I asked the doctor in the laboratory, but I was told I couldn't take the report away. Even worse, I was told that was the first and last time we'd be allowed to even look at it there. So you decided to steal it. Oh, Iris. When I compared the autopsy report with the case notes I had here, there was no doubt. The handwriting was exactly the same. It was Daddy's. And the signature on the corner at the bottom of the autopsy report read Dr. John H. Wilson. That's how I finally found out. I learned Daddy's name at last. See. Ever since then, I've called myself Iris Wilson. That's also when I had the brilliant idea of writing stories all about Daddy's exciting times with Hurley. I decided then and there that I'd write the adventures of Herlock Sholmes. Oh, Iris, I had no idea the stories had quite such a deep personal significance for you. So this cracks open a lot of possibilities about her father. This is how she learned his name. So there's every possibility that that's a pseudonym, that that's a fake name, right? Or there's the possibility that through some incredible coincidence that Sholmes lied to her about who her father was, or that, you know, maybe those case notes, maybe those weren't actually from her father at all. Maybe her father has just miraculously similar handwriting. There's a lot of possibilities here, but it's very possible that Dr. Wilson is not Iris's actual father. I can see why the autopsy report was so important to her now. And why she was prepared to break the law to get her hands on it. That's so strange. I must apologize, Iris. This is really all my fault. Hurley? I made a promise, you see, that until the time was right, I'd keep the details about your father a secret. I know, I've been very naughty. I'll take the autopsy report back to Dr. Gorey and apologize, I promise. Yes, we'll go together, I think. Then, let me look after it for you until we get there. Oh, yes, let me look at that autopsy report. Yeah, that's all well and good, but I want to look at the autopsy report, like, very badly. Clint Van Sykes, male, 33, British, coroner, John H. Wilson. Time of death, 31st May between 9 p.m. and midnight. Observations, death from a single stab wound to the heart. Other superficial external wounds indicative of a duel. Of a duel? Okay. Recent scarlet ink stains visible on the little and ring fingers of the right hand, but no document in corresponding ink was found. Autopsy findings. Vital evidence recovered from victim's stomach during autopsy. Credit to Inspector Gregson for petitioning so doggedly for the autopsy procedure. No internal trauma noted anywhere in the body. What was the evidence? What was... Why does it not list what that evidence was? Turned out her father's actually Moriarty, who was also a professor. You know, I'm thinking it. Poison? Maybe. That's possible, but I can't say for certain. I mean, I have been kind of waiting for Moriarty to make an appearance, right? Because we've got Herlock Sholmes. It would only make sense to have Moriarty show up. I must go and water my herbs, I think. I'll see you all later. Poor Iris. She must be feeling awful. I know Mr. Sholmes is here for her, but still. Ah! What? How? What's the meaning of this, Mr. Sholmes? Mr. Sholmes? Oh, dear me. So, you've noticed, I see. But that would mean... What on earth's the matter, Miss Susato? You've turned as white as a sheet. It's this autopsy report, Mr. Naruhodo. The one from 10 years ago. The writing isn't Dr. Wilson's at all. Uh-oh. Huh? What do you mean? How could you possibly know that? It's her father's, right? Because I know this writing very well. This writing is my father's. What? Professor Mikotoba's? Indeed. It's true. And now you know, my dear fellows. No, I don't know anything! What on earth does all this mean, Mr. Sholmes? Because the idea that's slowly forming in my mind, it's just too extraordinary to believe. Please, you have to explain. So, this autopsy report was actually penned by Professor Mikotoba then. And all of the case notes were also penned by Professor Mikotoba then. That makes no sense. It's not possible, surely. Not possible. My dear fellow, pray take a deep breath and think again. Yes, you're right. In some ways, it actually makes a great deal of sense. It does? 10 years ago is when Father returned to Japan after his extended study tour in Britain. And prior to his return, where was Dr. Mikotoba engaged? Of course. He was an assistant in Dr. Wilson's laboratory, learning about forensic science. And as an assistant, he would have aided with the dissection work, making detailed notes, which would be assembled into the full autopsy report. Once the work was complete, the head coroner would check the contents and put his signature on the document. Ah, okay. In other words, the only writing of Dr. Wilson's in the report would be his signature at the end. I see. So Iris got the wrong end of the stick, you mean? She saw that and assumed the whole report had been written by Dr. John H. Wilson. Which is very understandable, of course. What a complicated situation. Huh. And your partner, then? Thinking about it, most of what we know about you, Mr. Sholmes, comes from the published stories of your exploits. Yes, The Adventures of Herlock Sholmes, written by Iris. And when we really have no way of knowing what's fact and what's fiction. Most troubling for you, my dear fellow, I'm sure. So what about this supposed partner of yours? Did he really exist or not? Ah, you've come straight to the point, I see. And please come straight to the answer. I believe Iris explained it in one of her installments. He was a trusted comrade, and the only person I could have truly called a friend. And did this partner of yours truly make a record of all your cases? Are his notes really stored inside that metal chest? Absolutely, my dear madam. Absolutely. And this is why Mikotoba could say with such certainty that Dr. Wilson did not work for the great detective. Because Mikotoba worked for him. So where's your partner now? We rarely meet. You see, he lives on the other side of the world. But if this autopsy report and the records of all your old cases were penned by the same hand, and if the autopsy report was written, though not signed, by your famous partner, there would only be one logical conclusion. Pray, impress me. Your partner would have to be Yujin Mikotoba. In other words, Miss Susato's father. Upon my word, Mr. Naruhodo. Yes? You are coming along wonderfully. You have hit upon the method at last. You finally grasped the art of deduction. You mean to say... Allow me to introduce you to my great friend and partner, Mikotoba. Professor Mikotoba? Holy shit! What the hell? Does this mean that you're the real Dr. Wilson? Oh no, my dear, I'm still my old self. Yujin Mikotoba, your father. Oh, of course. Oh, he's awake. Cool. This is obviously too much for Susato-san to take in. So, Watson was Japanese. Yeah, I guess so. I must say, though, how my old friend has attained worldwide celebrity as a great mystery solver is the greatest mystery of all. I still remember the first time we met. Pray remind me, when was it again, Mikotoba? 16 years ago, Sholmes. Ah, yes, quite. 16 years ago. I just arrived from Japan with Seishiro and Genshin. I was in search of lodgings close to the hospital, some comfortable rooms at a reasonable price. But rents are devilishly high in that particular area. That's right. So I decided I needed someone to share the lodgings and the expense. I was fortunate enough to be introduced to Sholmes, who found himself in a similar situation. I was a callow fellow back then, a mere shadow of the great detective you see before you now. I was working at the hospital's chemical laboratory at the time, indulging my curiosities for little gain. books, Holmes met Watson when he was already a somewhat famous detective. True. Say you, a minor murder victim from the books, became a hot robo-daddy? That's true. That is entirely correct. And the situation of our cohabitation led to us pursuing cases together, you see. Hard to believe it was a mere 6 years. We had a great many adventures. But in the last year of Mikotoba's stay in Britain, that most infamous of cases presented itself. The case with which you've become rather familiar with yourselves. The professor killings. After the trial, Seishiro and I were summoned back home. Hardly surprising given the circumstances. So there you have it. And as you know, all the details recorded by my trusty chronicler remain in that metal chest. This is just amazing. Professor Mikotoba really is Mr. Sholmes' famous partner. Oh my god, they were roommates! Father? Goodness, my dear, what a cutting look! As your daughter, I'm very proud to learn that you were the great detective's great partner. But nevertheless, there's another mystery that I really must ask you to explain now. And that is... You know very well what it is. The unresolved matter of Iris's father. Ah, of course, I'd almost forgotten about that one. I should have seen this coming, I suppose. Yeah, who's Iris's father? What the fuck is going on? Iris told us that all the notes about the great detective's adventures that are in that metal chest were written by her father. Isn't that correct, Mr. Sholmes? That is indeed what I told young Iris. But if you're Mr. Sholmes' partner, father, and you wrote all those case notes, then Iris's father must be you. Ah. I think Sholmes may have been lying. Upon my word, Mr. Sato. You are coming along wonderfully as well. You too have hit upon the method at last. You finally grasped the art of deduction. What you've always told me, father, is that my mother died when I was born 16 years ago, and you left me in grandmother's care whilst you embarked on your study tour of Britain. I've always accepted that. But all this about Iris. Ooh, there it is. Susato-san's ice-cold stare. No, now hold on a minute. It was very complicated. I mean, it's really not what you think. Then perhaps you'd like to explain exactly what it is. Here comes the Susato takedown. Susato takedown! There it is. Now the ice go from ice cold to red hot just before she... No, really, you've got the wrong end of the stick. Sholmes, say something, man. That's quite enough, my fiery fellows. But, Mr. Sholmes? When did he get all dressed up? Whilst I don't like to interrupt this exciting exploration of the past, Mikotoba and I have an urgent matter that requires a short excursion. But it's very late, Mr. Sholmes. Where must you go? Why, my dear madam, is that not obvious? My partner and I must pursue our natural enemies. So, get your coat, Mikotoba. The game is afoot. But Sholmes, I really must give Susato a full explanation, I think. Later, my dear fellow, later. Our carriage awaits downstairs already. Oh my god. You fucking coward. Haven't changed one iota, have you? I mean, really. I visit our home after 10 long years. When I open that chest in a fit of nostalgia, I quite inexplicably pass out. And as if that wasn't enough, when I eventually regain consciousness, I'm plunged straight into all this. Father, please. Go with Mr. Sholmes now. What? I've no doubt that whatever happened, you were acting in everyone's best interests. I trust you, completely. Susato. And sending the great detective and his partner off on renewed adventures together is more than I could ever have hoped for in my wildest dreams. Very well then. We'll speak again later. So, I believe your own work is done for the day. I wish you the best of luck for tomorrow. Yes, Naruhodo. Good luck in battle, and in reaching a decision. A decision? Well, whether I go back to Japan, I suppose.
So much happened that day that I barely knew what to do with myself. It would only be later that I'd come to realize how amidst the chaos I'd unleashed were all the clues I needed to finally unearth the truth, and that all the turmoil was necessary to give me the resolve to see everything through.
Resolve. Title drop! Title drop, baby! Let's go! Wait, end? End? Not to be continued. End? Wait a minute. Yes? What the fuck? Wait. Oh! Oh! We're moving into the final chapter next stream! We're diving right into the trial. I'm sorry, this case is spanning 2 episodes? What the fuck? Holy shit. Holy shit. Really now? Oh, god damn. All right. Okay, I'm game. I'm for it. Okay. I don't think making a child with some lady in Britain is everyone's best interest. So I am fully anticipating that Sholmes is lying about who Iris's father was. Sholmes told Iris that her father was the man who penned all of those case notes. I think Sholmes was lying about that. And I'm not sure why. I think we're going to find that out eventually. There's a lot of possibilities here, as a matter of fact. A lot of possibilities. And I'm not really sure which ones could be correct. Okay, we need to find out, here's the thing. I don't think Kenshin Asogi was the actual professor. Van Zykes is definitely not the Reaper. Someone was giving Gregson orders. God, what else? We gotta find out who Iris's father was and how he was embroiled in all this. Yeah, he specifically said, that is indeed what I told Iris. Yeah, that's what he said. That doesn't mean he was telling the truth, though. So, okay. Hang on. Let me get some music here, right? Let me get some thinking music, because I wanna take a moment to just kind of break down my current thoughts. God. What's it? Ace Attorney thinking music. Yeah. What's the name of that song again? Logic and Tricks. Is this it? Is this the one I want? Yeah, this is the one I want. Okay. All right. It's time to do a little detective work of our own. Okay, so let's see. We need to go over the facts that we have right now. We have a few major mysteries to unravel at the moment. We need to figure out the true identity of the professor. We need to figure out the true identity of the person who helped him escape. We need to figure out who the Reaper is, or at least who's been giving the orders all this time. And we need to figure out who Iris's father is. So, let's start with the professor. I believe I said earlier that I believed that the professor was Clint Van Zykes. And I think that still makes sense. Because here's the thing. The other option, of course, is that Gregson and Dr. Wilson were working together, right? The true Reaper is Toby. Ah, yes, the puppy. The puppy was the real Reaper all along. So the question is, why was that covered up so hard, and why did Tobias and Wilson work so hard to frame Genshin Asogi? Because Genshin Asogi, I'm almost certain, did not do the mass murdering. They just wanted to frame him. I am fairly certain that Genshin did kill Clint, but he did not do the mass murdering. I believe Clint did the mass murdering. Genshin found out about it and killed Clint, like, in retribution, or God, I don't know, maybe in self-defense even. It could have been in self-defense. You know what? That could have been it. It could have been that Clint tried to kill Genshin. Genshin killed him in self-defense. Genshin just felt awful and guilty about that, even though it was in self-defense. And, you know, there was a cover-up to frame Genshin for it. Either because of, like, international scandal, or because Tobias Gregson and Wilson were trying to cover it up. Genshin Impact doesn't kill, he just takes your money and time and dignity. Ah, yes, of course. So let's see, what else? So now we need to think about who helped him escape. Who would have had the opportunity to help him escape? Maybe the governor? Maybe the governor of the prison could have done it? The Scottish man? What if the Reaper is Lockhart? I think that's a very real possibility. I think that's very, very possible. And I was gonna say, that is one of my major suspicions. I think the Reaper very well might be Lockhart. Lockhart has a lot of, like, villain vibes, you know? He really does. He has a lot of villain vibes. He's a very ambitious man who has a very, like, determined, like, has a very set outlook on what he wants and a goal that he's trying to accomplish. And he seems like the kind of person to do anything to, you know, accomplish it. So I think there's a very good chance that he might be the Reaper. He also has, like, he has the power to, he has the power to do that. What about living in a giant clock tower screams villain? Ah, yeah, who knows, man, who knows? Yeah. I think there's a very good chance he's the Reaper. He's definitely in the position to do it too. He's, you know, a major part of the police force. He's like the head judiciary guy, basically. So he has a lot of power and a lot of sway, and he could command Gregson to do something like that. He could also, you know, he could have Vigil framed. He could have someone else, you know, arrange for, wait, the assistant, wait. Hang on. So the coffin was already sealed when it arrived at Vigil's desk, so it might have been... You know what? It might have been Dr. Scythe. Dr. Scythe might have been the one that furnished the escape of the professor, right? Like, Lockhart could have coerced Scythe into covering things up and helping the professor escape, or not the professor, but Genshin escape. But why? Why would Lockhart frame the man and let him escape? Because here's the thing. It really seems like the group that framed Genshin as the professor also helped him escape. Why would they do that, though? Like you'd think it would have to be two separate groups, right? Like, the people that are trying to free him because they don't believe he's guilty and they want him to, like, live and go free. But the people that would have framed him originally, wouldn't they want him to be dead? Wouldn't they want him to die so that the secret dies with him, so that he can't, like, so that there's less risk of, like, their secret getting out, of the truth coming out? Because it really seems like the same people are involved with this on both ends, and that doesn't make any sense. Clashing powers within the police force. That could be it. That really could be. It's also possible that the professor There's two possibilities here. The Professor and the Reaper could be the same person with a very similar, like, goal. There's also the possibility that they're different people with opposing goals. Because the Professor was killing aristocrats, like corrupt aristocrats. The Reaper is killing corrupt criminals who have been escaping justice, who have been declared not guilty by bribing juries and the like. So while they're both acting in a sort of vigilante justice, they're acting in opposing ways to sort of enact their own version of justice. So it's really hard to say. It's really hard to say. We gotta figure out what the hell that last will and testament, like, really was trying to say as well. Because there was, like, Genshin Asogi's last will and testament was supposed to be his final weapon to get the truth out, right? Aristocrats Professor were killing were part of whatever sector the Reaper was part of? Maybe? But the Reaper didn't appear until after the Genshin Asogi case. The Reaper spawned after the Professor. Like, they were two very distinctly different things. And then there's the case of Iris's father. And honestly, that ball is so high up in the air, I can't see where it's gonna land. There's a lot of possibilities. I don't think it's Mikotoba. I do not think that Mikotoba is Iris's father. Mikotoba's wrapped up in this somehow, though. I think Mikotoba might have some very serious ties to either the Professor or the Reaper, I think. Mikotoba's wrapped up in this tightly, though. That's for sure. I think there's a few possibilities for Iris's father. The possibility is still there that it's the actual Dr. John H. Wilson, who was working, you know, in the morgue, you know, as a medical assistant, as an autopsy assistant. So there's also the possibility that it could have been the actual Professor. It could have been Clint, maybe. It's very obvious that Sholmes is trying to hide this from Iris, and probably for very good reason. It could be that Iris's father is the real Professor. Could be that her father is the real Reaper. Very hard to say. So Iris could be Strongheart, could be Clint Van Zykes. That red ink on Clint's hand. We're gonna find out what document that was from, I'm sure, but that's bothering me. And the other thing that's bothering me is whatever was found in his stomach that supposedly proved Genshin guilty. You know, which was Gregson insisted on that autopsy, and Wilson approved it. And I know Strongheart was involved with that too. I think Dr. Scythe was as well. Dr. Scythe carried out the autopsy. So those three are all wrapped up together in framing Genshin. There's a lot of loose threads, and I'm really interested to see how they're all going to come together. Okay. All right. I have pondered long enough. I think it's time we send you off to someone to raid. I'm very excited to see how this concludes. Yeah, this case is getting as juicy as my thighs, isn't it? Anyway, let's see who's alive. Who am I throwing you at? We got a few options here. Got a few good options. This is gonna be a hard choice. Let's see. Bree's playing Finding Paradise, which I haven't played yet, so I'm not gonna raid Bree this time. Let's see. Shiabun's doing Spoopy Fun Day. That's right. He plays horror games today. Zetsu, Koki. A lot of good choices here. Cozy is streaming, but I've raided Cozy a whole bunch in the last like week. I don't like to spam raid the same person over and over. Think send you to. It's actually like a really hard choice. Hang on. You know what? I haven't been able to catch a Shia stream in a long time. We're gonna check out Shia. Like, I haven't even been able to like stop by his streams in like the longest time. Like, schedule's just constantly conflicting, you know? Cozy's still going on the topic of thighs. Nice. Yeah, she's playing Lost Ark, but yeah, I like to keep my raids like spaced out, you know, spread the love around. And since Cozy's someone I'd like to, you know, make friends with, but we're not friends just yet, it feels weird to raid her like over and over. I would worry about maybe being annoying, you know? And maybe that's just paranoia, maybe that's just anxiety, but you know how it is. Anyway, we're raiding Shia. We're gonna stop by Spoopy Bunday. Shia plays a whole bunch of random horror games. It's a good time. It's a lot of fun. Highly suggest the scan redeem if you happen to have some points with Shia. The scan redeem is just very fun. Oh wow, wait, Shia's literally just going live now. Wait a minute. That's why it said zero viewers. Hang on. We're probably gonna raid into the starting soon screen, but that's fine. That's just fine. Don't worry about it. Anyway, this coming week, what are we doing? Well, I'm gonna be playing Elden Ring. Maybe at the midnight release, possibly, potentially. We'll see about it. Tomorrow, something. Arceus? Lost Ark? I don't know. Anyway, time's up. Take care, y'all. If you're new here, feel free to drop a follow. And I will see you next time. Peace out, everyone.